Namaskaram everyone and welcome to today's IAP Twin Cities branch Symposium on Adolescent Health. At the outset, wish you all uh, a very happy IAP Child and Adolescent Healthcare Week. As part of the Central IAP celebrations, we're celebrating Daughters Day, Teenage Day, Adolescent Healthcare Day. And we've just started the celebrations a few days back. And this webinar is part of our efforts to give the required knowledge to all the IAPians on adolescent health. I invite you all for the upcoming IAP PATS-IAP Annual Pedicon 2022. I promise it will be a wonderful event with rich academics, extremely useful, engaging workshops, a captivating cultural event, and a very exciting sports festival. So please register for the conference. We have two upcoming Central IAP workshops this month. One on learning disabilities at Apollo Medical College on the 26th of November, and a Central IAP workshop on pediatric endocrinology on 27th of November at Nilofer Hospital. Request the support and active participation of all IAPians for the Central IAP workshops, the IAP, TCB and PATS annual conference, and of course your unstinted support for all IAP TCB activities, especially on advocacy. Thank you all. I'll now request our President, Dr. Sunkoch Bhaskar, to please say a few words and begin the webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Harisri. Our dynamic secretary of IAP Twin Cities branch. He's been supporting the activities so well. Just now, we had a Premithon, a charity run, wherein we had actively participated in today's morning run of 5 kilometers, which started from Cable Bridge. It was a huge success, and they had to come. You were compelled to stop the registrations, and our secretary was in the forefront along with Dr. Pawan. Yeah, good morning all, and welcome you all to this 11th IAP Twin Cities branch symposium. We are very proud to say, until this month, we had been doing every month one symposium without fail on all important subspecialties. We have excellent academicians. So many academicians are there in Hyderabad and around Hyderabad. With their support, we are able to do it. And this is something special because today on this board, we have legends. We have very distinguished personalities who are participating. On behalf of the entire IAP TCB, I sincerely thank these legends and distinguished faculty, especially Dr. M.K.C. Nair sir. As you all know, he had dedicated his academic activities mostly centered around growth and development of children and as well adolescent health issues. He was recently retired as a Vice Chancellor of the University of Medical Sciences of Kerala. He was a very well-known, recognized, one of the few best IAP presidents we ever had. Thank you, Dr. M.K. Nair sir, for accepting our invitation and being with us today. It's a celebration, it's a festival once you are there. Again, we have one more legend who is none other than Dr. Swati Bhave. All of you know she was our past president, very dynamic woman, and she does a lot of work. She had championed for the cause of girl child health and other issues, and as well about adolescent health issues. Thank you, ma'am, for enthusiastically accepting our request to be here on the faculty. As you all know, Dr. Anuradha Sovani, a renowned psychologist, very experienced psychologist from Mumbai. Thank you, ma'am. You are unique because you don't come on telephones or WhatsApps. The only way to contact you is on email. Really, we need to learn a few points with your ideas. Again, from our side, we have recently started the state chapter of academic, this adolescent chapter of AHA of Telangana state, led by Dr. Preeti Nagaraj. I'm sure she is there. She will briefly make some opening remarks. And our faculty, Dr. M. Surendranath, all of us know he's a national speaker. He was the past president of Central Zone of IAP. He's with us. And Dr. Neeli Ramachandar, he was the national vice president, very talented, a great orator, and an experienced person in adolescent health issues. Thank you, Dr. Neeli Ramachandar, for being with us. And Dr. Sri Krishna, a very great academician and professor at Apollo. Again, he's deeply involved in adolescent health issues along with other academic activities as well. Now, Dr. Anita Bonigala is the secretary of the new chapter of Telangana State of Adolescent Health Issues. Dr. Anita, thank you for being with us. And actually, we thought of doing it last time, but AHAP of Telangana State asked her to this, but not least, Dr. Suchitra Dantala, our IAP Twin Cities branch vice president, and she will be the moderating panel discussion. She's been working for this symposium since last several days, probably sleeping late night. Last night I see her even at 1 a.m. Thank you, Dr. Suchitra. I know this is an important day for you, but despite that, you had come and participated. I thank all the participants. It's because of your presence we the organizers are able to do all these academic activities. I thank all of you, and I sincerely request you all to register for a great upcoming PATS and IAP Twin Cities branch annual which is going to be held a great learning experience and as well great sharing experience. Thank you all, and I thank Dr. Srikanth Santanala for coordinating this program. And Dr. RSV, we'll ask Dr. Preeti Nagaraj, President of AHA of Telangana State, to say a few words before we go to the program.
Sure.
Thank you.
Over to Dr. Preeti ma'am, and then handing it over to Dr. Srikanth. Preeti ma'am, please.
Good morning, and I welcome to the stars. Madam, Swati Bhave madam, and MKC Nair sir. When we talk of say book of surgery, we say belly and love. When we talk of book of pediatrics, we think about Nelson or Pighai. And when it comes to adolescent medicine, no one but only Swati Bhave ma'am and MKC sir. So that is what is the mark they have created when it comes to adolescent medicine. Whatever we know about adolescent medicine is all because of them, and they are championing to the cause of adolescence. And as we all know, the onset of adolescence brings not only the changes in the bodies, but also new vulnerabilities due to the limited access to the quality services and the health information to the teens. Especially so when they want to know about the sexual and reproductive health, injuries, violence, and digital challenges like cyberbullying, pornography, and internet addiction. As per the National Mental Health Survey of 2015-16, prevalence of mental health disorders in the age group between 13 to 17 years has gone up to 7.5%, and it is seen in both the genders. A large proportion of young girls and teenager girls are coerced into the unwanted sex and marriage, and putting them to the risk of unwanted pregnancies, unsafe abortions, and uh, risking their lives for HIV and AIDS. NFHS 4 survey says that 1/4 of the girls in our country, that is 25% of the girls, are still getting married below the legal age. And one of the key strategies to reach these children and adolescents is through the school health programs to impart education about the health issues. And this, which we had conducted all through the state of Telangana by empowering UA module, be it UA Center of Excellence at Nilofer Hospital, along with the Women and Child Health and the Academy of Twin Cities Academy and State Academy, had done this program every Wednesday all through 1 year. Then came the COVID and this program has started, but we still continue doing it on the Zoom program, and we were online with the teachers and the schools. So it has been incorporated in the health and wellness component of Ayushman Bharat program also. This is a program, prestigious program of Government of India to strengthen the preventive promotive aspect of the health promotive activities. And this, our state has also started, and we have handholded and done the TOT program for 12 districts, along with the RKSK medical officers, along with the Zilla Parishad teachers, and this program is going to be implemented all throughout. The ambassadors for the adolescent and child health, they are our pediatricians who can carry the health and promotive activities, improving the nutrition, mental health, and preventing injuries and violence. So, and also addressing the non-communicable diseases. The theme of our adolescent week was a great adolescent by child nurturance. Keeping this in mind, what we at the adolescent team did was made a lot of pamphlets which can be reached out to the schools, to the parents, and to the fellow pediatricians who in their office practice would impart the same knowledge to the adolescents. They will give the adolescent care in a more better way in their office practices. So today we have a great team, and it's our proud privilege to have such stars. The galaxy of stars are here, and it is for all the benefit of all our Twin Cities pediatricians and the state pediatricians to gain this knowledge and impart down into the community. So I welcome you for this symposium. Thank you very much.
My sincere apologies. I could not address Dr. Navniyal Singh. He is one of the 4 speakers, another distinguished personality. He is much interested in academic activities, particularly adolescent health issues. I'm sorry, Dr. Navniyal Singh.
And he was a Central AHA he was a Central AHA executive member last year, sir. So
great.
A lot of adolescent activity Navniyal sir does. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
I'm extremely sorry, Dr. Navniyal. I thought you are not in the faculty. You said you're traveling. Anyways, now over to Dr. R.S.V. Sri Krishna or Dr. Srikanth.
Over to Dr. Srikanth Sandhanala, our executive board member of IAP Twin Cities branch, to conduct today's session. Over to you, Dr. Srikanth. Please take it over.
Sir, good morning. Thank you. It's a great day for IAP TCB because today, as we are celebrating the National Adolescent Health Care Week, and we have the legendaries of adolescent health who have started the AHA Academy at the national level. And it's my privilege and honor to introduce Dr. M.K.C. Nair sir, M.K. Chandrasekharan Nair sir, who is currently the Professor Emeritus in Developmental and Behavioral and Child Adolescent Pediatrics at Child Development Center, Thrissur. Sir is a former Vice Chancellor at Kerala University of Health Sciences, and he is the founder director of Autonomous Center of Excellence in Early Child Care and Education, Adolescent Care and Education, Premarital Counseling, and Women Welfare since its inception from 1987. Sir is also a national president of Central IAP in 2004 and NNF 2011-12. So I request Dr. M.K.C. Nair sir for his introductory remarks on adolescent health issues. Over to you, sir. M.K.C. Nair sir. Thank you, sir, for your presence.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. I am traveling. I have reached Cochin, the place of Dr. S.S. Kamath, who started the adolescent program in the National Conference of 1999, where Dr. Jacob John was the president at that time. So my greetings to all the AHA leaders in Hyderabad, all the delegates, Dr. Swati Babe, my elder sister. We have worked together, and the only theme I want to say today is each one of us can contribute to adolescence. It's a cafeteria approach. Everybody doesn't have to do everything. We all can contribute in one way or other. Let's look at what we can do. 1999, when we started the first meeting, that time our idea was sensitization. We started talking about family life education. Instead of sex education, we talked about family life education. I think the least we can do is do the family life education session in schools and get questions from the children on a slip of paper without names, mix it up together and give answers. If anybody wants, I have a book on 101 commonly asked questions. It's an old one, but still it is relevant because that when I started, I used that. The second you can do is we can have teen clubs. And the best way to associate teen club is the ICDS has a lot of programs on RK, SK and all. Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram. There is a component of ICDS in that. all the ICDS children who are beneficiaries are now adolescents are put into this program. So if nothing else, just as a general pediatrician also, you can take classes, help them in the program, do some checkup like that. Okay. And we can have a teenage clinic. Suppose you are little more trained, then you can have a teenage clinic in the community level where it will be basically the same pediatric problems, nothing much more than that. And then what we can do is the adolescent pediatric course of Kerala University done at Child Development Center, which was very, very popular. Now actually the numbers are coming down. So AHA members should make sure that you get trained. At least I was fortunate to train more than 500 pediatricians across the country. And that is the strength of the academy now, because you need to be trained. Somebody is going to ask you, are you trained? Yes or no. If not the whole course, we can have workshops on reproductive health. And particularly for lady members of IAP, you can be as good as a gynecologist, because the adolescents don't have serious gynecological problem. They have simple problems. Can manage the mental health problem. So you go for a workshop on mental health problems of adolescents, you learn bit of counseling, and you can do very well in that. There are some people who are really determined to do adolescents in a big way, like Preeti Galagadi and all, who actually do no pediatric practice, only adolescent pediatrics. They are the people who can do adolescent clinic in a big way with all medical components as well as. So within a month or two, you will have the second edition of Adolescent Pediatrics book, where you will have 2 additional components, 10, 12 scenarios, case scenarios on counseling, and then you will have a 10, 12 case scenarios on adolescent medicine problems. There may be few who are working with young adults. In fact, I'm going to Trichur to the Kerala University Health Science, where to train the doctors, the faculty from 324 colleges of the university on student guidance and support program, 1 male, 1 female teacher. So that is exactly what I'm going to do in another few hours. So this is an important thing that we can do. We can train school teachers on adolescent programs, and they become a counselor. And we can take classes for the counselors, and the counselors are ICDS as well as the department has appointed counselors in many. In Hyderabad, I'm sure there is. I know about it. So why don't we take classes for the counselor? That is another one. Suppose you are more focused, well established in the last 10 years, you want to get to a higher age group, the youth wing, the youth can be taken care of, and then you can have the premarital counseling. Again, a full book is coming, is just coming out on premarital counseling. So the opportunities are unlimited. We can't be expert in everything. You know, what I started 42 years, you cannot do in 2 years. So, but you can start with smaller things and then get, confident to do the adolescent pediatrics in big way. And I'm sure Dr. Swati Bhave will add to this, and together we can win. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, MK, for your presence and making your introductory remarks. And your points will be well taken, that for training of the counselors in the educational societies and youth training in premarital counseling. Thank you very much, sir, for all your introduction and for your presence as an ambassador for adolescent health for the nationwide. And now I request Dr. Swati Bhave, madam, who is a renowned international pediatrician and teen specialist, who is working as a professor in adolescent medicine in D.Y. Patil Medical College, Pune. Madam is head of department adolescent wellness clinic at Jahangir Hospital, and madam is an executive director Association of Adolescent and Child Care in India, and also regional vice president in the Council of International Association of Adolescent Healthcare. And madam is past president of Central IAP in the year 2000, and madam had many credits and scholars. And over to you, madam, for your presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I can't put my things up and down. Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Telangana branch and the AHA branch for being kind enough to invite me on this Sunday in this Adolescent Week. And I've got galaxy of speakers along with me, Dr. MKC, Dr. Anuradha Sowani, Navnihal, Nitin Nagaraj, and everybody. And I'm sure this session will be very wonderful and a learning experience. My topic for today is body image issues. And I've been fortunate that I have been working for the last 7 years after relocation to Pune in a wide spectrum of adolescent age groups, early, middle, late. I'm also doing prenatal counseling for young adults. And having worked in the elite Jahangir Hospital and seeing upper, very rich socioeconomic status, I work at Kasun Hospital. So I'm seeing all the public health patient. And I'm also working in DY Patil, which is the upper and the middle socioeconomic group. So across the spectrum, all adolescents have the same issues, but the spectrum of socioeconomic and culture can add a different flavor to their various problems. So body image is the image each person has about himself or herself, which may not be related to the actual body, how it looks. That means a person who's very average looking or not even good looking can be very content with the way the person looks and not have any body image. On the other hand, we know of celebrities, pop stars, beautiful women who are constantly doing plastic surgery because they are not happy with the way they look. So what is a positive body image? Understanding that beauty is a very broad concept. Accepting one's body, appreciating the body you have, being self-confident and content about how you look, and have a positive mindset when you look at your body. Whereas a negative body image is comparing themselves always with others and feeling inadequate and feeling awkward and embarrassed about their body. And this lack of confidence can affect their social, behavioral, and many other aspects of their life. And some of them can see body parts in a distorted way, that my nose is horrible, my face is horrible, etc. And all of us know there are certain protective factors in the life of adolescents, like connectedness to parents, school, community. And we teach life skills, WHO, to empower them to meet the challenges of everyday life. And the first skill is self-awareness. And in self-awareness, we teach them self-esteem. Because people or teens who have positive self-esteem have self-confidence and it reflects positively in all the aspects of life. So in self-esteem, body image is a very important component. And the body image, as I said, is a mental picture you have of your own body and how you see yourself when you look into the mirror. And anorexia nervosa is a classic example when the girl is getting thinner and thinner, but when she looks into the mirror, she sees a fat girl. Self-esteem is how you value and respect yourself as a person. And self-esteem affects how you take care of yourself emotionally, physically, spiritually, etc. And self-esteem and body image directly affect each other. And hence we have to build up the self-esteem of our teenagers so they don't have body image issues. And so what is the right way to look at oneself? If you're a cat and you look in the mirror and you see a lion, that's a very high self-esteem. It may help you at times, but generally it is superiority complex. And this overconfidence and overestimating yourself can land you into trouble. In the opposite way, suppose there's a lion and he looks into the mirror and sees as a cat. That is a very low self-esteem, inferiority complex, and underestimating yourself. So how should one look at oneself? One should see oneself as we are in reality. That is self-awareness. Neither superiority nor inferiority complex, and never over or underestimate yourself. So what are the different aspects of body image? One is the perception, how the way you see yourself. Affective, the way you feel about the way you look. Because person may feel, okay, I'm dark, but if it doesn't affect him, his darkness, then the cognitive thoughts are not negative. And if the cognitive thoughts are not negative, the behavior is normal. But if I have a feeling about my dark skin or my overweight or my specs, then it will affect my cognitive, that is my thoughts, and it will affect my behavior. Because then I may not have my social interactions, I may not wear certain clothes, etc. So body dissatisfaction is discontent or disappointment with various aspects of one body. And we have to teach teenagers, learn to love yourself. And don't let how you look decide how you feel about yourself. And in an extreme case, as psychologists and psychiatrists know, it can lead to body dysmorphism, where the person is so dissatisfied with certain part of his body that he may go repeated plastic surgery. I had a case where a girl did not have gender dysphoria, but she just didn't want breasts. And she was constantly wanting to cut them off. And we had to give a lot of psychiatric management for this girl. So teenagers' body image affects in a variety of ways. It leads to low self-esteem, negative moods, anxiety, depression, social anxiety, and it affects their growth and nutrition. Taking unhealthy diet to reduce weight, taking androgenic steroids, going into body eating water, and avoiding participation into social activities, into sports, and constantly thinking about how one looks is going to affect your performance, your studies. And if one is not happy in real life, then naturally one tries to find happiness in the virtual life. So internet addiction, social media, chat boxes, gaming, all this is well known. And anxiety and depression can be severe enough to go into suicidal thoughts. And of course, addictions like smoking, alcohol, and drugs. So what affects body image? The big three. One is, of course, the peers. If your peers accept the way you look, you're very happy. But if peers tease you or bully you, then naturally your body image is affected. And when the body image starts? Right at home. And we have to teach parents not to label children when they're growing up, and especially not to compare peers and siblings. For example, if a girl is dark and a sister is very fair, and you call them Kalu and Goru, right from the beginning, they are developing a body image issue. Or you call a fat girl fatso, or you call a person chashmish. So parents have to understand that children and teenagers are very, very sensitive to labeling of the body, how they look. And parents have to be very careful in this, because this is the image the child carries into the school. And then when peers point out he's already been called a dark person at home and peers tease him, it further tracks into adulthood. And we all know there's so many adults around us who have body image issues, which are perpetuated by the social media. And of course, we know the impact of media, magazines, internet, and I'm going to come to this media effect in my subsequent slides. So what are the other factors that affect body image? The culture which you are grown in. If you belong to a very hip culture, which has a large socio-economic status, you want to be always in the trend of fashions. You want to only wear branded clothes, and you're looked down if you wear ordinary clothes. If you belong to a middle socio-economic status, where looks are secondary and your talents are more important, you may not get that much body effect issues. And what are the current trends of fashion? If you think that the current trends, you have to be in it, then you develop body issues. And thirdly, what is your personality? Some people are very confident in the way they look, and they don't care what the world says about them. But some people are very much bothered about the way they look and what people say about them, and the chances of body image are much higher. We all know that puberty changes affects body image a lot, especially when they are late bloomers or early bloomers, when they look very different from their peers. And all teenagers want to fit in. They want to identify with their peers, and anything looks different, they are subject to bullying or ridicule. Some are not able to deal with these changes. For example, when girls get curves, they start slouching, and that may give bad posture. When a boy has a squeaky voice or the Adam's apple is showing, he feels very awkward to speak. Sudden increase in height gives rise to limbs which are longer, and there are clumsy, awkward movements. And all this can make teenagers lose their self-confidence. I'm going to now share some of my experience of dealing with body image issues. I have always been active in IAP and AHA, that is like my baby and birth. But I've also started an NGO or a volunteer organization 15 years ago. Dr. Anuradha is very actively involved in this as an advisor. And our aim has been for the last 15 years, holistic wellness in adolescents through the two pillars in their life: parents at home, teachers in school, and now we have added grandparents. And what is important is that we make modules of Aki, which are along with a group of experts, and the same standardized modules is used in various schools and colleges across the country. So this is an Aki module which we have made on body image, which is being contributed by Deepa, Niti, Prajakta, Tripri from all over the country. And to keep the time, because it's only 20 minutes, I'm going to go quickly through the slides, which we show just to get an idea what we should talk about body image when we go to schools. So we all know what are the body image concerns which girls have and boys have, which are almost similar. And what we have to teach them is learn to accept what you cannot change. For example, if you are short and you're 5 feet and that's your family trait, nothing you can do about it. But if you're overweight, you can take care to reduce your body weight to make it healthy. Learn to take the challenge and change what you can, but at the appropriate age. Like, for example, I have a lot of teenagers or kids that want LASIK eye surgery. So until your eyeball is grown and your development is complete, you should not be doing any eye surgeries. So we have to tell them that some changes have to come only at an appropriate age. And most important, we teach teenagers, you must learn to differentiate the two. What you have to accept, what you can change. And very often when they're confused, we say, take help from professional adults like us or your parents or your teachers. So we tell them that specs is a very normal part of your life. Some of you have poor vision, that is okay. And you can learn to, we teach them why do you get specs. We tell them choose an appropriate specs frame which enhances your personality. And we tell them how to accept specs happily. We also teach them about the contact lenses, what age is appropriate, how you take care. We teach them about LASIK surgery at older age if needed. We teach them about pimples. And you know, the advertisement make one pimple a catastrophe. And the cream show that once you have no pimples, you can achieve anything in life, being a doctor, being an engineer, as if pimples decide everything in life. So we teach them, we take this opportunity to teach them about the healthy way of dealing with pimples so that they are not overly concerned about their pimples. And we also tell them that the scars can be treated because many people are very upset about the scars. We also teach them about the skin color, that we all are Indians and we should be proud of our brown or black color depending on which state you come from. And beauty is only skin deep and your inner qualities matter. And as I jokingly tell them that if fairness cream really worked, all Indians would be fair. The amount of creams which are being sold in India across the country because we all have a passion or obsession about fair skin. Then we also say, don't worry about your weight and height. And different bodies and faces make us unique. And if we all look alike, wouldn't it be boring? We all look like robots. And then we teach them that body beauty comes in all sizes, all shapes, all appearances. And remember, each one of us is beautiful in our own way. Each one of us has some quality which is very, very attractive. And it all changes due to culture. For example, in Japan, they used to tie up the women's feet till the bones broke because that was a concept of beauty. In Africa, they used to put rings around the neck because the elongated neck was beauty. So beauty changes from country to country, culture to culture. We also teach them that you have to accept your body in morphology. Like if you're an ectomorph, you're thin, however you eat, you're not going to be a Salman Khan. If you're an endomorph, however you take care of your weight, you cannot be thin. And if you're a mesomorph, you build muscles very easily. So some people can build up muscles very rapidly, some can't. And if you want to have a pencil thin figure, if you're an endomorph, it's very tough. And so you should not have go on dieting. So we teach children the concept of understanding your body type. We also teach them body shapes. And you know, in India, we have this concept that you should only wear what suits you. Whereas in America, you see on the beach, however overweight you are, people are walking in shorts and bikinis, they wear what they please and not what suits them. But if I are bothered, I must look nice and people should say this is suiting me, we teach them how a triangular body shape, an inverted body shape, a round body shape, you can choose the right clothes so that whatever clothes you wear brings out the best of your body shape. Then we also teach them about the ramp. And you know that now the French Fashion Society and all, they have banned walking on the ramp any model who is less than 18.5 because that is malnutrition and that promotes anorexia and it promotes smoking and appetite reducing drugs. So we teach them that this is not healthy weight and we take this opportunity to teach them about BMI. And we put this slide with Dr. Sangeeta Yardner that all these girls from a doctor's point of view are malnourished. So we don't want to have such pencil thin girls or a zero figure. Then we teach them, we take this opportunity to teach them about eating disorders. how unhealthy dieting, how obsession about your weight loss can lead to eating disorders. We teach them about anorexia nervosa. We teach them about bulimia. We teach them what is binge eating disorders. And then, of course, today, in the past, body image issues were more with girls, but now it is equally with boys, with all the fashions, the images. And we have to tell them that many of these muscles which they are seeing are implants. You know, pectorals and all, you can have implants. You can have create the 8 packs with implants. And we have to tell them that this requires a lot of hard work and it requires a mesomorphic body. And quick fixes like plastic surgery, implants, and taking unhealthy protein supplements or androgenic steroids is not the answer. And we also teach them what are the ill effects of anabolic steroids. Because many people who go to gym are, unfortunately, by unscrupulous coaches, put into unhealthy diets, which can lead to protein overload syndrome, kidney failure, and we all know about androgenic steroids. And we teach them in detail about steroid abuse side effects, including rage. You know, people who are very aggressive and they can commit violence. Many of the athletes today, why are they violent? Because they are on androgenic steroids. And this has to be told to them that it can create mental effects also. Then we talk about media. Today, everybody is on effect of media. In the last 2-3 years, due to COVID shutdown, we all were on social media. We all had got addicted to the screen. And we teach them that how advertise impact children right from the beginning. And we know today a 5-year-old decides what should be bought when they go to a supermarket. So whatever you want to eat, what you want to see here, everything is by the media. And we have to start what is known as media literacy and demystifying ads. So right from childhood, we have to make children understand that these are ads which work on the psychology of a child and teenager, making you want to use certain products, making you want to eat certain food, and all this is not real. And children will not accept this unless you demystify ads. Then we have to also know that social media is affecting the body image greatly. And today there are many adults who are also into social media addiction, and body shaming and emotional verbal abuse should be literally condemned. And we have to tell our teenagers, no one has a right to tease you because of the way you look or your body mannerisms. And body shaming is emotional and verbal abuse. And not only you should not be a victim, you should condemn people who are body shaming and stand by the victim. And if you see the impact of social media on body image, it's not just teenagers. World over, in the last 2-3 years, due to social media, COVID shutdown, adults also have got tremendous body image issues. And social media is affecting not only in India, UK, USA, everywhere. And we also have to understand the before and after, the makeovers, the plastic surgery. Many of it is myth, and you have to make them understand. We discuss a lot about photoshopping. You know, teens are quite used to photoshopping because when they take out selfies, they do photoshopping and share the best selfie. So we have to tell them that whatever you see in magazines, in media, this perfect body, the perfect shiny hair, the lustrous eyes is half Photoshop. And we also teach them about airbrushing, how everything can be made to look glowing and smooth, and this is not all reality. So what we teach them is that if you have a negative body image, you can change it. So body positivity can be acquired by changing the way we look at bodies, helping a person to embrace their body, being aware of unrealistic and unhealthy beauty standards, and promoting the acceptance of all body types. We have to change our ideas of beauty. Only slim and tall, only fair, all these are beauties. No, every body is beautiful, and we have to encourage healthy body, healthy mind versus so-called beautiful mind or beautiful body. And so we give them tips for improving their body image. We give them details to practice self-talk, wear comfortable clothes, avoid comparing with others. Beauty is not all about appearance, and encourage what your body can do, laughing, dancing, creativity, spend time, do work to people, helping people, being altruistic, being is far more important than body image. And do not go into the media messages and images that make you feel you're different. See yourself as a whole person, not just body parts. And every time you think of your body, start diverting your mind to other things. And we also discuss about tattooing. what tattooing can do. And it is now said that if you do more than 7 tattoos, you need to have psychiatric evaluation, because that means you have body images. And we teach them about the hygienic parts of tattooing. Think before you ink, because it is not easy to remove tattoos. We explain all this to them, that you can have problems with MRI, you can have allergy, you can have contact dermatitis. And then what are the some take-home messages? Speak to your body in a loving manner. It's only one body which you have, and love your body. And then we tell them, put these positive mantra images on your laptop or on your bathroom mirror or whatever devices you carry, so that every time you get positivity. And love yourself. If you don't love yourself, how can you expect others to love you? So that's the first thing, principle we give them. And the key points is, healthy body image is feeling happy and satisfied with your body. Help yourself to develop healthy body image by talking, focusing yourself as a whole person with your talents and positive qualities. An unhealthy body image in childhood can have a long-lasting consequence. Take professional help if things are serious about your body image. And as Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. We also take some videos which are normally half minute to 1 second. So this is just to make them understand that, you can. So I'm just showing you just 2 short. Okay, thank you very much. My talk is over.
Thank you very much, madam, for your timely presentation. And as you rightly said, that body images, when everyone sees them as a lion in the mirror, definitely it adds to up their self-awareness and increases the self-esteem, and finally adds up to their increased self-confidence, doing it every work in their proper way. Thank you very much, madam, for your time and for your wonderful presentation, for making us enlightening on the body images, which should be addressed for every adolescent. Thank you very much, madam. Now we go on to the next session by Dr. Anuradha Sawani, madam, on children and adolescent, what they expect from parents. So Dr. Anuradha Sawani, madam, is professor and former professor and HOD, Department of Psychology, SNDT Women's University, Mumbai, and former HOD in Applied Psychology in University of Mumbai. Madam is a trustee and consultant for Institute of Psychological Health, Thane, and madam is National Core Committee and Ethics Committee Chairperson for Adolescent Association of Adolescent and Child Care in India. Over to you, madam. Anuradha, madam.
Thank you so much. I always find Dr. Swati Bhave's talk so difficult, such a tough act to follow, very rich with points, with content, beautiful slides, and of course, her unmatchable style of delivery. I will try to do my best. Again, I'm in a collection of very erudite pediatricians, and I'm a psychologist. So again, odd man out or odd woman out. The nature of my talk is also going to be a little bit different from perhaps, what is being done over here, because you all are a community of medical professionals. Sometimes, however, as a humanities person, I find it's important to philosophize a little and to think, what exactly is it that we are looking at here? As pediatricians, you all have an amazing impact on families. Parents listen to you, children share with you, adolescents want to talk to you. So I felt that this was an important area to talk about, and I hope in the question and answers that Dr. Swati and I will take as after my talk is over, perhaps we will also be able to hear some sharings from you in terms of what exactly happens in this realm. What I am to address today is what is it that the children want from us as parents, or when you're advising parents, parents will always say children want this, children want that. You see, I want to begin at a point where we start introspecting on our own lives. We as professionals, or also the parents that you are consulting with, they are also busy professionals. They have super busy lives. They race through their daily chores. All of us do it. We have work demands. We have social obligations. We have all those phone calls which are pending and we have to return. We have so many pending emails that we have to sit in the evening and answer all of them. What happens because of that? We feel very, very guilty. We feel terrible that we have not spent enough time with our children. And then what do we do? And this is a well-known thing, not new to any of you pediatricians. What do parents do? They just keep on plying them with objects of their desire. What are these things that children want? Usually sparked off by peer comparisons. Usually when their classmate has something, their neighbor has something, their friend, their cousin, they have something, the child also wants those very same things. I want us to think a little bit of our own childhood. Tell the parents this also when you're talking to them. You remember when we went to school and we used to have this nice pencil box with freshly sharpened, nice long pencils inside. And then one day we lost that pencil. What did our parents do? They made us use that stub of the old pencil, which was saved. Why? Because we were careless enough to lose the new pencil in school. Not that the new pencil was not affordable, but one has to teach to value whatever is given. So brand new stationery at that time was a gift. It was something that lit a spark of excitement in the eyes of any child. But today there is too much of everything. There's a surfeit of physical possessions. None of them are really treasured. Things are lying around in the house. New toys are lying around here and there. And the parents keep on complaining to you about this, saying, what is this? I keep on bringing my child new things, new clothes. I think I must pick up some of the points that Dr. Swati made in her talk about this whole desire for branded clothes, branded shoes, matching up constantly with other children, other adolescents. Putting all of this on social media, taking selfies with all this has become the norm. Everyone checks out Insta pictures of who has the latest, most desirable belongings. So now what do our children demand from us? You see, we have discovered now, all of us and our parents, our clients and our adolescents and their parents tell us, our children have the most updated information on everything that has to do with the internet. They seem to know the latest in internet-enabled devices. Even our my little grandchild who's 8 years old seems to know all the latest smartphone models. They know about online games which are so strange. They seem to be created in some alien planet. Technically, our parents, you will tell your parents, do not allow a very small child access to social media, but they seem to know everything that is happening on social media. Watchful parents will tell you, I don't know how, we don't give them access, but they know all the latest developments in this field. They're abreast of all the updates that are happening in their social world. Not only their social world, sometimes your social world also. So what has happened is, to answer the question that is posed to me as a topic of this panel, it is what do our children and what do our adolescents want from us? They want all these things. They want all these material possessions. They want clothes. They want branded shoes. They want food, which is like the most stylish thing to eat because they want to post all those meals. If you notice, when we go to a restaurant, instead of sitting down and chatting with each other and enjoying our food, letting it touch our taste buds, we are first letting our camera see the food. And we are so busy posting it on our websites, on our various social media platforms saying, see, look at what I'm eating. That is not the point of what you have gone to the restaurant for. You have gone for company, you have gone for a good time, you have gone to enjoy the good food. So what I realize is that although our children are asking us for specific things, which is not unusual because they are going to be triggered by the various peer pressures that they face, but it is up to us. And we have to counsel our parents, our clients, that it is up to us to actually make them realize what is it that they require. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be an uphill task. Again, I'm going to ask you to hark back to your own childhood days. Very honestly, and I think all of us are about, in an age range of 20, 25 years or so, much, much older than the adolescents who we advise. Can you actually recall feeling bored, restless, dissatisfied when you were that age, 12 years, 13 years, 14 years? There was always something to do. There was always some new adventure to pursue. Our pleasures were very simple. They were easy to acquire. It could be, going to meet a friend or play some game, rowdy game sometimes. Rules were made up on the spot. Sometimes it was running out in the rain, splashing in rain puddles, building sand castles. Sometimes it was listening to ghost stories on a dark night. We all would sit in a room, switch off the lights, tell scary stories to one another, and we would all get goosebumps. But they were not real fear because we knew that our parents were just next door in the next room. Nothing horrible could happen. If we really got scared, we can put on the lights and we can call them. This sense of, I don't know what to do, I'm bored, time kaise pass kare, what is called ennui in French, that has taken over the children's lives, our lives, the lives of the parents whose adolescents we are looking after. There is this sense of, I've been there, I've done that. Nothing is new in the children's lives anymore. If you notice, our adolescents seem to grow up before their time. They develop adult-like emotions at an early age. Dr. Swati shared with us so beautifully about body image, and we will all, in all your busy practices, you must have seen even 7 and 8-year-olds who have those same body image issues that actually teenagers and adolescents have as per our literature. You see children who have developed adult-like emotions at an early age. They're passing love notes to each other. They are sending all kinds of very, pornography kind of videos to one another. And then we start worrying, where is life taking our children? We realize that what has gone missing from childhood, from adolescence, is that childlike innocence, that unfiltered honesty, which is the hallmark of being a child. To me, when I think of a child, there is this sense of inner happiness, which is part of a child's DNA somehow. I've never seen a little baby, a small child looking dissatisfied, angry and put off with life and so on. This seems to have got corrupted with social polish, with decorum, with this demand from social media to always look up to date, always look as if you're perennially happy. That is the image that everyone is trying to project. There is a freshness, which is the essence of childhood, which seems to have gone. And it's replaced by a casual attitude. It's replaced by very low empathy with a shade of self-centeredness. Friends, that is what I wanted to highlight in today's talk. In our Indian culture, in Western countries, in Sweden, in Finland, they do this happiness index. Okay, and even in countries surrounding India, Bhutan, and so on, there is this claim that these are the happy countries. And they describe this happiness as a sense of feeling wrapped in a warm blanket, very safe, very secure. In India, this sense of comfort is sought through networks with the community. In India, our idea of happiness is these simple things. I think that is really what marks what our childhood was, what our parents' childhood was. And somewhere, I think that is what our children are looking for from us, although they don't know it. They have no idea because they have never experienced this at all. What we experienced is this network with the community, this close tie with trusted friends, who care for us and we care for them back. You know, in our country, there is this very popular understanding, and I'm sure you will find it even in the semi-rural areas where your patients come from. They will tell you there is this popular understanding that who is the richest person? The richest person is not the person who has big cars and a big house and a big bank balance. A rich person is one who has maximum pair of footwear at their door. We all remove our shoes when we enter the home. And the larger the pile of footwear at our door, the more friends we have who come over, who care for us, who look out for us. This is a different kind of prosperity. It is a more equal and shared prosperity than the Western individualistic, materialistic culture, which only believes in collecting belongings. So I think this is what our children want from us. All of us, all of you as pediatricians have shared this so much with your parents, with your clients, saying don't keep on plying your children with things. Look really at what their real need is, right? And I think this is what we need to make them understand, that the biggest gift we can give to our children is the secret of happiness. Think of all the examples that I cited to you of what made us happy, what made our parents happy. Today, when I talk to youngsters, what they say is, very often, you know, when they're sharing, it's my students also sometimes, master students who I teach at the university, or it is my young clients, adolescent clients who are talking to me, or it is my own family members. They say, how is it that you keep so much touch? How is it that you're still so much in touch with your relatives, your cousins and all these people? Somehow we have lost that. And if you look at their social media accounts, they've got hundreds of contacts and they've got hundreds of friends, but really they don't feel comfortable reaching out to any of them with the things that is very, very personal, closest to their hearts. So I think, and I don't want to take up a lot more time because I think I have kind of made my point. I think we need to give our children this biggest gift, the secret of happiness. I think we must teach them to develop an ability to look within and find satisfaction from simple things rather than constantly looking around for new sources of excitement. And like I said, it's harder for them than for us because there are more things beckoning from the outside world. What we need to give them is a sort of inner compass that will point them true north, that will tell them right from wrong, that will tell them to stay kind and yet honest, yet forthright, assertive. Know their own mind, speak out when they feel they must. In Dr. Swati's talk, she told us nobody can make you unhappy without your consent. If there's something that you want to say, we have to train our children to say it out regardless of the consequences. You see, we are too invested in proving to the world that we are intelligent, our children are intelligent, our children are the best around, they are the toppers, they are the most beautiful, they are the best sports people. We focus on this. We focus on ensuring that they are clever and they are street smart. But we forget, like Wordsworth said in his poetry, that trailing clouds of glory do they come. There is this inner natural wisdom in a child that is lost because of this exterior social polish that sometimes we impose on them and we choose to augment. So I think we must delve deep and again bring out their own natural wisdom. I have had experiences like this when a child will give you the best of advice because they are unfiltered. They're telling you the way they see it. And I think it's sometimes very good advice. So finally, friends, I think as pediatricians, we need to train our parents. We need to get them to realize that they have a very challenging task ahead. We need to talk to our little children and adolescent clients, preparing them for the tough competitive world that lies beyond their childhood. Yes, we cannot make them too innocent, careless of competition because it is a hard world that they have to grow up into. But we must still ensure that they understand the value of kindness, empathy, gentleness, a large circle of close friends, who makes us feel warm and content in their company. We have to teach them to nurture that little flame of contentment within and allow it to burn bright as they follow their heart. But friends, And as pediatricians, as doctors, as counselors, we have to learn this lesson well first. We all know that unless you know a subject well, you cannot teach it. A tuition class will not do this for the children, the juniors. We will have to imbibe, your parents will have to imbibe and then share it with the youngsters who they are looking after. They are the treasure, they are the future, and we owe this to them. And that is what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for being such patient listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anuradha madam, for all your inputs, for being a good parenting and making increasing the self innerness of the children and self happiness rather than by increasing the country's youth and power of the entire country. Thank you very much, madam. Now I think we'll take as we have time, we are in time, we'll take few questions from the audience session, so that I'll unmute, so we can have some few questions from anyone. If anyone have any questions, you can unmute yourself and please ask the questions to Swati Bhave madam and Anuradha madam. Madam, Swati Bhave madam, you can unmute me.
When Srikanth and Bhaskar and all asked me for a good psychologist, I couldn't think of anybody else but Anuradha. And you all must have seen the choice was so correct. Her way of speaking, the soft speaking and the philosophy and all. And to tell you that whenever I have problems, she's my counselor. And she happens to be my cousin. And we have grown up together, and that connectiveness remains over years. So I think this is a very important message for all of us, that when we say our children, like our clients come and tell us, our children are never satisfied. Whatever we keep giving, they are not satisfied. So I always ask them the first question: why did you start giving so much? Who started that process in the first place, where you try to replace your quality time by material things? And now you're blaming your kids that they want too much. And the answer is, ma'am, peer pressure. We can't do anything, it's peer pressure. But then if there's so much peer pressure, why can't you exert your parental pressure in an affectionate, assertive, loving manner? Because we know that high-risk behavior can be controlled by connectedness to the parents, connectedness to the school, and connectedness to the community. And I think it's high time we also stop blaming children for peer pressure. We have to take that peer pressure as adolescent experts, as pediatricians, and replace it with the self-confidence and assertiveness and important inner values.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Swati, for those kind words, and for all the whole audience for giving me such good feedback in the chat box. I will hold up the same point as Dr. Swati said, that even when it comes to body image, if you start questioning these body image issues that youngsters have, they will turn around and tell you that even my parents are like that. They are struggling hard to look 20, 30 years younger than they actually are. And I think they also take a certain pride in if their mother, if their father is like natural, comfortable in the way they look, and not struggling with Botox and plastic surgery to look younger and more beautiful and so on. So I think we have to lead by example. And that's a point which I think many of you have picked up in the chat, and which Dr. Swati highlighted, that we have to learn our lessons well first, and only then can we confidently guide the families who we are consulting with.
Can we ask people to unmute, please? I mean, mute if they're talking.
One question. I'm Dr. Sharma from Hyderabad.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yes.
They were amazing talks by both of them, Dr. Swati and Dr. Anuradha. So, insightful, eye-opening and everything. I would like to share one thing that might be, that's my perspective about peer pressure, how I dealt with it when this topic came up with my children. I told them.
Can we ask the person who is talking to mute, please? It's getting disturbing.
Yeah, I think Dr. Sharmila will only leave her mic on. Others will please.
Yeah.
Can the administrator mute the others?
Dr. Srikanth.
Sir. I'll.
Am I audible? Can
Yeah,
I
yes,
talk?
Madam. Yes, madam. Please.
Yes, yes. So when we had this first talk about peer pressure with my own adolescent children, I told them peer pressure is not exclusive to a certain age. Peer is like one you have all throughout your life. And if you want to feel pressured, you can feel pressure at any age and every age. And I think that actually put things in the perspective for them. And having said that, I have some burning question that I would like to ask and share. I have a certain perspective about it, but I would like to hear from people so well experienced, knowledgeable, and so good at communicating this thing.
Dr. Sharmila, thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. Before you go to your questions, I would just like to say that you are absolutely right. When we share with our children that even at an age of 40 or 50 or 60, there is still peer pressure, they will turn around and tell you that it's okay for you. You know, it's different because you are already successful. You've already made a name for yourself. So it's easy for you to combat peer pressure. That is usually the comment which is made by youngsters. Therefore, I think it is very important, and I think you should guide your adolescent patients' parents for this, that they must also share their childhood experiences. Because I think the mistake that many parents make is that they share with the youngster the outcome. They say, you know, when I was your age, I also had peer pressure, but I fought it. That is the outcome. What they must share is the process. How did you fight it? What did you do at that age? So I think that is an important tip that you might want to give your clients.
I told them what is important is that peer pressure exists at every age. See, because your peers are equally struggling or not very successful at that point, and your mother's or father's peers are also similarly blessed. They can compare themselves with their professional achievements, personal achievements. If you want to feel the pressure, you can feel pressured about how someone's children are better off than you. Just like, I mean, and I tell the reverse to the parents. If you compare your child with someone else's child, so can the child compare you with someone else's parent. You can neither be that. So the best version of yourself is what you want to do. And sometimes it's okay not to be your best, because all of us make our journeys. And the most beautiful thing about life is about living first, living and taking care of yourself. And then comes the next circle as it expands and goes on to the society. So I get this question often asked about nowadays more so. Is it right for, how did the world change with women getting into workforce? Big time, small time, almost it has become universal. So did it affect families? Did it affect children in the negative, and family as a whole? So is it right? Sometimes they ask these questions, though I have my own perspective. I want to hear from both of you. So what is your take on rising mental health issues, not just with the nuclear family setup, but with both parents working? And it's not just about the time spent, but it's about what you think is the right setup for a family to grow. Do you have individual interests as against common interests? More of individual interest, common unit interests back then versus now. What's your take on this? Because I think
Anuradha will give in detail as a psychologist, but what I would answer one thing. I always believe that in life, change is the only constant. So whether we like it or not, today nuclear families are on the rise. Whether we like it or not, women are going to work. Whether it's an economic necessity, whether it's her professional achievement for what she has done. So there's no point thinking whether the joint family was better, nuclear family is better, whether a working woman was better or a homemaker was better. What we have to accept today is the reality that we have nuclear families, we have working women, and how best in the given situation, instead of trying to compare, no, we must have joint families, no, we must have mothers staying at home, we have to deal with the situation. So having made that point, I think Anuradha will tell us how we deal with the situation that we have nuclear families, we have working mothers, and what is the best. Anuradha, please go ahead.
Thank you,
How
Dr.
much
Swati. I
time
completely
actually?
agree. Yeah, completely agree with you that, see, we have this tendency to pin all ills in our life onto social circumstances. So we tend to say this happened because it was no longer joint families. This happened because my mother was not working and now all of us work. The reality is that the grass is always greener on the other side. So when you have somebody whose spouse does not work, they will come and tell you, "Arey, it would have been so much better if it was, two incomes, and it would have boosted our social status better." And when we have somebody whose spouse does work, they will say, "Oh, but it's so much better if one of us is at home to look after the children and the elderly and so on." The same is true for joint and nuclear families. People who have, see, there will always be clashes in any group, in any family. So ones who are living in joint families, they will come and say, "Oh, you're so lucky, you're on your own, you don't have all these pressures of looking after elderly at home." And those who have that privilege, they will kind of, instead of enjoying it, they will say it's a pressure. And those who don't have that privilege will say, "Oh, you're so lucky, you have grandparents looking after your children." I
How
will
do you
just give
draw
you
the
one
line
tip.
between
No,
simple
Sharmila, I will
and
just give you one small tip, that a simple answer to this is to have a group session. So when you call all these parents in your clinic and have a short group session with them, they will start sharing all the same thing, grass is greener business, with each other. And they will soon come to realize that, look, nothing is so simple. There is always some answers that we ourselves have to find.
So what will happen, Sharmila, what we would say, that you have to deal with the circumstances you are in to the best of your ability and teach your children also to cope up. So if you are in nuclear family, just as you have a lot of advantages, you're going to have disadvantages which you have to cope up. You're in joint family, so whatever the circumstances, this is what we teach in life skills, that face the challenges of everyday life and increase your coping skills and have your internal locus of control or happiness rather than having an external locus of control or happiness. And if we do that, whatever surroundings you are in, whether it's in the family, whether it's a community, whether it's in an office, even as adults, don't you see, some of us are so happy in our profession, in our practice, in whatever achievements we have. And some of us are always complaining. I didn't get a chance to be in a medical college, that's why I'm not academic. I didn't get a chance to be in private practice, that's why I'm not well off, etc., etc. I didn't have a supporting husband, so I could not achieve like other women who had supporting husbands. So every time we are going to blame the surroundings for our lack of achievement or our lack of going higher, and it never comes internally. I was not strong enough, I was not capable enough, I didn't have good coping skills to overcome all this and still achieve. Because nobody likes to introspect and accept that I'm at fault or I'm to blame for what will happen in my life. It is so much easier to blame somebody else, blame the circumstances, blame the social media, blame everybody to say, but if I had this, if only is the worst thing. If only I had this, I would be happy. If only I had this, I would be successful. We should take away all the buts and
question that parents ask, which I again have my own perspective, but I want to hear from you, is that how much time with children, what is this quality and quantity time, and does it really affect children? So how much time can a woman work, max or minimum or whatever? I mean, I don't want to share my thing because it will stop others.
I believe there's nothing like a standard quality time, because however quality you give, quantity also matters. So it's a balance in each family. There's no hard or fast rule. I would say if your children are happy with the time you're giving them, that is the quality and the quantity. Some children may require more quantity, some children may require more quality. So it all depends on how you and your children establish the quality and the quantity. And what I want to add.
I completely agree, because finally it should be based on your child's needs. And remember, there's a difference between the child's needs and the child's wants. So the child will tell you, get out of my hair, get out of my room, I don't want you here. But we have to read between the lines and look at their needs. Are they lonely? Do they require some inputs from us? So I think the child needs is a one-line answer to your question.
Ma'am, we'll take one.
Anybody else wants to ask?
One last question, madam. Please.
Yes, can I?
Yeah, yes, sir. Please. One last.
Okay. Good morning, madam. Myself, Dr. Sri Krishna. Really excellent lectures from Anuradha madam and Swati madam. Swati madam, just very commonly recently, what I come across, whenever we tell whatever your points which we read from your inputs also, we tell the parents, once one parent blasted us, that not only doctors, even non-medical people also always advise parents who are around 40, 50 years and who come after facing many problems, and you are advising only to us. And don't you think that, why do you think that only children have that feelings? Why not the adults? And every time you are advising to the parents only, and we are also new, because having a teenage child is new for us also. Then what is it? Why don't you tell in a different way? Why advise like this only for parents? So
we never advise only for parents. No. For example, I do a lot of telecounseling, and I do what is known as family guidance rather than counseling. And I always tell them my first session is only with parents, the second session is only with the teen, and the third session with the whole family. And I always tell the homework for the parents, what change they're going to do. I give homework for the child, the change child is going to do, and I ask them to monitor each other. And in that third session and the personal sessions, children feel very happy somebody is monitoring their parents. And the parents feel very happy that somebody apart from them is also telling the children where they need to change. So I think there's nothing like only giving guidance to parents or only giving guidance to the children. If you want any behavioral change between teenage and parent relationship, both have to be guided, both have to be encouraged, and it has to be joint sessions. And that is what I've been for the last 20 years. I never only guide parents, I never only guide teens. I tell them that if you all are ready for my sessions, only I'll take up your family. Because their parents are telling me that, ma'am, I have brought my child for counseling. I'm paying you for him. Don't tell me what to do. Because if I tell a father that if you want your son not to indulge in alcohol, you stop drinking at home first. And you'll say, madam, mera drinking to chalta rahega. You tell my son not to drink, So if you really want change in the family,
in fact, madam, now the parents and grandparents are going into inferiority complex because the present day children are very fast, especially in gadgets and other things. They feel that these are inferior, whereas we used to think that our parents are always superior, and our feelings are at that time is different, and now this is different. So these parents are having more complaints compared to previous days. That's what I feel.
Sri Krishna, you're very right. In the past, why were elders respected? One was because of knowledge. We didn't have Google Baba, where in a minute you could get and prove your parents or grandparents wrong. So Google has now completely made the distinction of knowledgeable versus non-knowledgeable. So none of us as adults are going to be respect for our knowledge, because very often we'll be proved wrong by Google. Then the question was, only knowledge is never enough. You need experience, because that means wisdom. Knowledge compared to your experience means wisdom. And we respected our parents because we believed in that wisdom, and we asked them to share their experiences so that we would learn. But the idea was that our parents wanted us, and we didn't want to make the same mistakes. And that is why we respected our parents, we listened to them. Today's generation will say, let us make our own mistakes and let us learn from our own mistakes. So today's generation, we have to understand, are not willing to listen to the experience of the elders. So this is the new era. So today we are not respected for our knowledge. Children don't want to listen to our experience. So all we can do is be good role models. In the sense, you have to practice what you preach. You cannot say don't indulge in tobacco and alcohol and junk food and you do the same. You can't tell your children to have a healthy lifestyle, be a couch potato and tell him, no, you go and exercise. You can't be fat and unhealthy weight and tell your children, no, I'm okay, now I'm 60, whatever I weight doesn't matter. You must be slim and thin. So being good role models is the only way your children will respect you. Anuradha, please add.
No, I think you've covered everything. It's a very important point you have made. Another answer I would like to give Dr. Sri Krishna is that we must account for the fact that time is changing very fast now. So the same wisdom that our parents held in their mind worked for us. But the same wisdom that we hold in our mind does not work for our children, because every 2 years things are changing. So what they turn around and tell us is that aapke time mein aisa tha. We are not denying that you were right in your time, but in our time this does not work. Therefore, as Dr. Swati said, we have to stay abreast. We have to be updated, and when required, we also have to accept their expertise. So, like you started your question by saying that parents feel inferior because they don't know as much technology as their child. Accept that. Learn from them, take their help. They feel very good if you tell them, no, that come and start my email for me, it's not working. They'll roll their eyes and they'll say, oh my god, daddy, you don't know how to do these things, but inside they feel very happy that they are able to help you. So I think that sense of equality, that I am good at certain things, you are good at certain things, let us learn from each other. There's no harm in that. So I think many of our parents want to hold on to that superiority, I'm bigger, I'm wiser, I'm smarter, which is not always true.
Okay. Okay,
Any
madam.
of you who have read that book, I'm okay, you're okay, the transactional analysis, you have to stop that parent-child relationship. We have to have adult relationships. I'm okay, you're okay. Then only it's long-lasting and it is there.
There's
But
also
most of us
another very
think,
nice book called How to Talk So Your Children Will Listen.
yeah, it's very nice.
We forget that, we are talking wrong. That is why they are not listening. It is not their fault. It is our fault.
Okay, madam. Thank you very much, madam, for your presence in this. Thank you, Swati Bhave, madam, and Anuradha Sovani, madam, for making all your inputs. And we'll go on to the next topic.
Thank you so much. You will forgive us both. We need to leave for another program. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure being with all of you. And thank you for those comments that said that this was a very different from the routine lecture. I was a little worried whether you all would like it. I'm glad you did. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now we'll go on to the next topic by Dr. Naunihal Singh, Lifestyle Disorders in Adolescents. Dr. Naunihal Singh is a senior pediatrician from Hyderabad and over 3 decades of experience in the field of pediatrics and adolescent care. Sir is Vice President in All India Association of Advanced Research in Obesity, and Sir is Secretary in Adolescent Health Academy in Hyderabad. Sir, over to you, sir. Shall I share the screen, sir? Sir, you are not audible. You are not audible. Sir, Naunihal Singh, sir. Over to you, sir. Hello? Sir, you are not audible, sir. Your voice is not audible. So we cannot hear you, sir. Sir, there is some voice issues, sir, from your side. Naunihal, sir. Hello, sir.
Sir, please log out and log in again, sir.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir, now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So thank you, the organizers, for giving me an opportunity to talk this important topic of lifestyle diseases during adolescence. It's a very crucial period of life where an adolescent is going through a lot of challenges in their life. It's a very turbulent period of their life. As Dr. Swati and Dr. Anuradha has just now mentioned, they undergo a lot of pressures. They have pressures with their families. They have pressure with their adults. They have pressure with their teachers. They have challenges among the schools and all. In addition to that, they have challenges among their growth and development. So whatever we tell, and most important is they have got a lot of knowledge available on Google. So they want to believe those knowledges rather than they believe the adults. And second thing is, most of the times the adults are not role models. They say something and they do something. So lifestyle disorders are the result of the lifestyles of the mother during pregnancy, weight of the child, right from the early infancy to the child and then to the adolescent age. That gives an impact as they grow into the adult life. So adolescent period is a very, very dynamic period. So what are the causes of lifestyle diseases in adolescence? Most important is the result of intrauterine life. Whatever you sow, you reap that. Second thing is infancy. If the child is not having a proper adequate diet and all during childhood and during adolescence, it matters what they eat, how they eat, how's the feed given, and what are their lifestyles. This is very, very important. We have to concentrate more on the lifestyle of the child. If a child, go back, please go back. If a child is a low birth weight or a premature or a bottle feed baby, these children are considered to be at high risk. So we have to take care of these children right from birth and as they are growing. Diet has to be monitored from the beginning. It is not just monitoring the diet. You have to have the diet which is being offered to them as well as followed by all other people also. So extra care has to be taken for the adolescent as well as the children. So now we have got different factors which are influencing the lifestyle diseases. There are controllable factors and there are uncontrollable factors. Most important is the controllable factors, which is diet and nutrition, but it is difficult for an adolescent to control that because that's a growing age and that is the time when they love to eat everything. They can digest everything. Unlike us, when we grow up, we can't digest and we have to selectively eat. But the adolescent age is such, they say, okay, fine, I'm digesting everything. I don't have any problem with that. Why should I not eat? Then second is physical activity, which is, again, it is a controllable factor. Whether they do it or they don't do it has to be monitored. Exposure to sunlight. Nowadays, we are seeing a lot of vitamin D deficiencies in adolescents because they are more stuck to their screens, school. They are not exposed in the playgrounds and all. So again, they are having a lot of vitamin D deficiencies also. And substance abuse. Now, the uncontrollable risk factors are age, ethnicity, genetic, and endocrinology. But let me tell you, these uncontrollable factors can definitely be managed. They are manageable factors. Even at any age, if you are properly disciplined and if you are having a proper diet and all, you can definitely control that, even for the adolescent or the young child also. Genetic and endocrinal can also be managed. But most important is the improper lifestyle, overeating, excessive consumption of fat, influence of the friends and all on smoking, having alcohol, sedentary lifestyle. Corona has added to that sedentary lifestyle where they got used to a lot of doing all the webinars and all, having classes on the net and all. So these are the common things which have influenced the children, and that leads to obesity. And as we know, obesity is the mother of all the diseases. Next, please. Next, previous. Back. So lifestyle diseases pose a risk of almost about 70% to the teens. So it's not a small figure, it's almost about 70% risk factors are there if the lifestyle is bad. That can cause obesity, that can cause hypertension, liver disease, diabetes, vitamin D deficiencies, mental disorders, computer syndrome, sleep apnea, and many of the cancers. Please, next. So when we look into the youth of our country, we have almost about 22.7%, which is going to increase. And we are the second country which has got the maximum adolescent population. Suppose we have this population, and if we don't control them at the early age, or we don't direct them, or we don't help them out, then these are all going to have a lot of lifestyle diseases, which are going to have a diseased population, which is going to affect the country, the economy of the country, the economy of the family, and the family welfare also. Next, please. So obesity is very, very common. When we see into obesity, previous one, please. Yeah, 1 out of 4 person is obese in India. When we look into the NFHS census, it was 2015 to 16. Between the age of 15 to 19, the obese were 4.2, had gone to about 5.4, and these obese teens can become obese adults and obese young adults and adults also. When you look into the rural population and urban population, the comparative study was done. It was found that in the urban, in 2015-16, it was 31.4%, which has risen to almost about 33.3%. And in rural, from 15.1%, it has jumped up to 19.7%, almost about 5% rises there. So obesity is the mother of all the diseases, have to be controlled. And basically, the most important factor that has to be controlled is what you eat, how you eat, and what are the activities you are involved in. Next, please. So this is a vicious cycle. This is a vicious cycle. A healthy child who is about 5, 6, 7 years, if he is involved into more of sedentary activities like video games, or he's all the time on the studies, because there are a lot of pressures from the student, the classes, parents, every parent wants their child to be doing very good. And in addition to that, availability of high fat food, easy availability at the click of a button. So these children slowly turn into mild obese child. And then once they are getting into that, their activity comes down. They don't stop taking the lifts and all. They stop taking the activities. They want always go by lift, never use stairs. And the bags are carried by the parents. Then they turn into moderately obese children. From there, severely obese. And these obese children gets into adolescent, and from there they get into the adulthood also. So a obese child inevitably, if not controlled, becomes an obese adolescent, and from there he becomes an obese adult. Next, please. So what are the signs we get for previous one, please? Hello, can you go for yeah. So this has to be controlled. So next is very important is once they are becoming obese and all, these children are prone to get hypertension. And hypertension, the prevalence of hypertension in adolescents is almost 3 to 5%. It is underreported or underdiagnosed because most of the time we don't check the blood pressure of a child. We presume that they are normal. Even if the child is a little thin, I would suggest every child should be at least checked blood pressure with a proper size cuff and make him sit down for 5 minutes. One reading is not enough. You have to take at least 3 readings with a proper cuff, this thing. Now, the signs and symptoms for the hypertension are dizziness, irregular heartbeat, nausea, vomitings and all. But these signs are not very common in adolescents because they have excess of energy, they overcome all this, and even if they have headache and all or dizziness, they consider it to be weakness or inadequate sleep or watching more of TVs and all. They don't normally bother about the hypertension, and they don't think it is hypertension, even the parents as well as the children. Next, please. So the prevalence of hypertension in adolescent age group is almost about 16.1% in 18 to 19 years, which goes up to almost to 26% in the young adults, and coming to almost about 52% in the elderly age group. But the overall prevalence of hypertension in both men and women is almost about 34%. Next, please. So next important is diabetes. We are going to become the diabetic capital very soon. And diabetes in India in 2019 was almost about 77 million people were diabetic, expected to be almost about 134 millions in 2045. 77 million adults in India have diabetes in 2019, which is increasing alarmingly. But out of this, 43.9% million people with undiagnosed diabetes are there. When you start looking into the diabetes fasting post-lunch or free insulin, then you come to know about that. HbA1c should be done in this. So national prevalence of diabetes increases almost about 8.9%. 1 million diabetic related deaths was reported in 2019. Next, please.
Sir, are you there, sir?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not getting the slides.
Sir, can you see the slide, sir?
Yeah. So now prevalence of pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes among adolescents between 10 to 19 years. In males, it's almost about 16%, and in females, it comes to almost about 13.5% between the age of 12 to 14 years. Next, please. So, yeah, as I was discussing previously, just before starting this saying, vitamin D deficiency is also very much prevalent in adolescents as well as in adults. When we look into the surveys, it was found that almost about 83% of adults in Srinagar were found to be vitamin D deficient. In Chandigarh, almost about 96%, and Delhi, adult population were about 76, and in rural 70%, whereas when they found in children, it was found to be almost about 93%. So it's an alarming figure. So these adolescents, they become deficient in vitamin D, they have all the problems, then slowly that leads to osteopenia and osteoporosis, osteopenia and all those things. Next, please. So when you look into the age groups, vitamin D deficiencies, the symptoms which they come is with they will have low. This is between the different age groups. When we look into the diabetic prevalence of vitamin D deficiency, it was found that 0 to 4 years at different regions of our country, Kerala is the least, South India is less, whereas in North India, it is found to be quite high. Similar picture was found in the age group of 5 to 9 years, where the Southern India has got, because maybe we have got more sunlight and all, and we are more exposed to the sun. And when they found the population in the age group of 15 to 19 years, 10 to 19 years, again, the same census has been reported. So deficiency of vitamin D is quite highly prevalent in adolescent age group as well. Next, please. So what are the symptoms they get once they have deficiency in vitamin D? They may have low immunity, they may have anxiety, depression, tiredness, fatigue, chronic pains, bone density loss, impaired wound healing, and hair loss. So all these symptoms, they attribute it to either deficiencies of vitamins or iron or other inadequate diets and all, but they don't think of vitamin D. So unless we properly guide them or we try to correct it soon, then vitamin D deficiency will be prevalent and they will be having all these symptoms in future as well. So it is better to correct it with the injection if it is too deficient, or we can also go with the vitamin D tablets. Next, please. Again, now the hello.
Sir. Sir. Hello.
Quite far off, actually. Hello.
Sir, we can hear you, sir.
No, but
slides.
Yeah. So anemia is another problem which is very, very commonly seen in adolescent age group. In India, among the women, prevalence of anemia is almost about 53% and 50% in pregnant women. Whereas when you see into the anemic factor between the age group of 15 to 49 years, it has been found that increase from 2015-16 to 2019, the anemia percentage was almost about 19% in Assam, coming down slowly towards Telangana. And I'm very happy to say that Telangana is only about 1% increase of anemia was there from 2016 to 2019. So that's a very good sign. And a lot of programs are going on among this. And we all should also try to help out the adolescent by educating them about the anemia. The health statistics about the prevalent profile of India is over half of the Indian women in reproductive age group suffers from anemia, and 58.4% of children in India are suffering from anemia. So 58.4% is a very, very big number, and this has to be corrected and it has to be attended. Now comes the scale of substance abuse in India. Alcohol is the most commonly used legal psychoactive substance, with about 14.6% of population using it. Next comes the cannabis, opioid, and sedatives. Last is the cocaine. So estimated prevalence in millions is almost about 160 millions for the alcohol, and estimated numbers of harmful use of dependence is almost about 86%. Now, the social challenges where the people spend most of the time on the social media is, hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Sir, we can hear you, sir.
So adolescent faces a lot of social challenges because they have got a lot of material to look into it, and everything is done on the mobiles or the internets or the iPads and the laptops. So average time spent connected to social networks per day in selected countries is, in Nigeria and all, it is almost about 4 hours. And in Japan, it is 0.5 hours. So that means the Japanese spend very little time on social media. So that is the reason I think the Japan is going very, very well. And that's why the development is very high in that countries. Now the mental health disorders, which is again another challenge which adolescent faces. 970 million people with mental disorders have been noticed, out of which 52.4% are the females and 47.6% are males. And out of which 31% are the anxiety disorders, 28.9% is the depressive disorders, and developmental disorders and attention deficits and all comes a little lesser. So 13% of global population is living with mental disorders. So, and this is another big challenge in adolescent, which has to be attended. When you look into the global prevalence and burden of depressive and anxiety disorders, these percentages are almost about, prevalence is less than 10% in some of the countries, whereas more than 38% prevalence has been noticed in the South American countries and other Pakistan and other countries also. Now, depression is another factor which is very, very important. Percentage of respondents worldwide who felt anxiety or depression for more than 2 weeks of 2020 by country and age group is, we have almost about 21% in the age group of 15 to 24% and 20% in the age group of 20 to 25. So even the disorder, this one is also going up. Depression is also very, very high. Next important factor is about the computer vision syndrome, which is very common in a lot of children. When they come to the hospital, they either have the headaches, they have eye strain, they have dryness of the eyes, and the most common is nausea and all. So these people should be advised for the 2020 pattern, where they should see for 20 seconds, they give a break of 20 seconds after 20 minutes, and then they should have this computer at least 20 feet away from them. So to prevent digital eye strain, take a 20-second break every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away. So these are the important lifestyles. So most commonly lifestyle diseases or the challenges which the adolescent faces are obesity, hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, sleep apneas, and all those things, and computer syndromes. So what is the best way to prevent this. Healthy eating, regular exercise. These people have to be trained or educated, and just telling them for doing the exercise is not enough. The parents also should get involved into the exercise, and they also should do the exercise. Sleep should be not less than 8 hours. Screen time should be reduced drastically. Alcohol and drinking should be reduced. As Dr. Swati Bhave was telling, the parents should not always dictate the children. They should always become a role model by not taking the alcohol and smoking and other addictives. So you should try to be a role model. You should try to practice what you're preaching. And similarly, the whole family should follow the rules of the house. And then getting screened every few months is very, very important. So prevention is always better than a cure. And lifestyle diseases are a challenge for the adolescent, which are going to be very, very high in the coming future. As such, we have got a lot of diabetes, hypertension in adult population. To prevent that, we have to educate our children, and we have to educate our parents also at the same time, to see that our population becomes healthier in the next generation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Navnihal sir. Thank you very much for having an overview on the lifestyle disorders of adolescent, and something like computer vision syndrome is something new, definitely because of the increasing use of gadgets. Everybody is having that type of syndrome. Thank you very much, sir. Next session, we'll go on to the panel discussion on adult health issues by Dr. Suchitra madam and their panelists, Dr. Neeli Ramchandar sir, Dr. Anita Bonigan madam, and Dr. Surendra sir, and Dr. S. Sri Krishna sir. Over to Dr. Suchitra madam.
Yeah,
Hello?
thank you. Yeah, thank you, Srikanth. Yeah, we are starting.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, we can see your screen.
Yeah. Very good morning to all. This is a wonderful day for Adolescent Health Issues Week, and we are doing the symposium. As a Vice President of IAPTCB, I take this opportunity to be moderating this session. Also, I thank the seniors who are there in my panel, Dr. M. Surendranath sir for accepting this. Also, Dr. Neeli Ramchandra sir, Dr. S. Sri Krishna sir, who is HOD Apollo Medical College, Dr. B. Anita, who has always been a backbone to support in every issue that we take up together, be it early child development or be it adolescent. So it was wonderful working with her. So as we quickly move on to the panel discussion today on adolescent health issues, as we all know, weight, height, and increase of all this, along with appearance of secondary sexual characters, and it is all the process of thinking changes from concrete to abstract thinking. This is what we have seen in adolescents, and none other than our leaders and workers and our president, Dr. Preeti Nagaraj ma'am, Dr. Navnihal sir, all of them have worked on it. So now quickly we will move on to the session to see what are the issues that we can go ahead with these adolescent brains, and how the sensitivity to the stressors can be relieved, and what are the changes that they can go through, and how the office practice of the pediatricians can help them do better or thrive better. Dr. Neeli sir, what are the common health issues in adolescent witnessed in your office practice, and how to approach an adolescent when accompanied by the parent in the outpatient department?
Good morning, Dr. Suchitra, and good morning to all the national luminaries who are on the platform, and to Dr. Sunkoj Bhaskar sir and Madam Preeti Nagaraj, AHA Telangana chapter, and Dr. Navnihal Singh, and my friends. Thanks for this opportunity. Dr. Suchitra, usually an adolescent hates or dislikes or resents visiting a clinic or hospital for his own problem. So when he is visiting a consultant for any need, means something is going amiss, or there is a need to do some fine tuning, so that this adolescent will not slip out of the main society or the productive society. Hence, the adolescent issues that are concerned are personality and temperament issues, internet addiction, substance abuse, mainly drugs. These days, the drugs are there everywhere, even around the schools and colleges. sold in the form of chocolates or candies. So it's a very serious issue, concerning issue for the parents and for the future generation. And alcohol use and smoking. Smoking is also an equivalent issue for concern. Eating, binge eating. Parents give a lot of money for the child, thinking that they will use it for their routine needs. But it will go for to the extent of binge eating, and adolescent obesity is the consequence. And ganging up. This gangs culture, if the student is not properly mended, he will end up with gangs. And juvenile delinquency. Whatever, if the child, if the parent think that the child may you misuse the money, and if the child finds that the amount is not sufficient, he may resort to juvenile delinquency. And these self-injuries. For small issues also, they will be blackmailing their parents. And depression. These days, students are very much involved in net and other issues, thereby landing in the depression. Suicidal and homicidal tendencies. These are also not uncommon. Accidents. And they force their parents to go for a new vehicle that is there in the market, or that is there with their friends, and they end up in the lethal form of this. And the worst is teenage pregnancy. The girls are not properly mentored or tutored by parents. They will end up with teenage pregnancy. These are the issues that that are affecting the adolescents of this society in the current year. Dr. Suchitra?
Yes, sir. How to approach an adolescent when accompanied by the parent to the OPD? You want to be specifically saying that the adolescent has to be examined in the presence of the parent, or you want them to have the privacy to have their own questions with you?
Yes, yes. We have to interview child and parents together for first 10 minutes. Always we should make the adolescent feel that we are on his side, not with the parent. If he thinks that we are with the parent, we may slip our clientele, and he will start losing faith on us. So it will be counterproductive. So we should interview the child first for 20 minutes. And we have to do HEEDS assessment. HEEDSSS. Shall I tell HEEDS? What is HEEDS? Home,
Yes,
education, eating, activities, drugs, depression and suicide, sexual, health-related issues, and safety. This we have to assess to get the adolescent perspective. Then parent alone for 10 minutes should be interviewed, and then from parent also we should seek the HEEDS assessment to get their perspective, the parent side perspective. Then parents and adolescent together for 10 minutes to decide action plan and further. This should be in a nutshell to deal with both the parent and adolescent.
Yes, sir. Well taken about your perspectives about what are the issues, be it a personality issue, be it a media-mediated issue, or a drug abuse, which is commonly increasing, and their behavioral changes that they come across. Definitely, we will see that this will be taken up in our office practices. So the next thing is a 17-year-old adolescent boy was accompanied by his mother to the OPD, where mother was much depressed about the poor scholastic performance and his aggressive behavior, as her son was spending maximum time on the media and gadgets. Now, how would you counsel the boy and his mother? And what is the impact of the media usage among the adolescent?
These are the days the children or adolescents are rather, they are addicts to the media. So we should always prescribe media diet to the whoever visits us, either it parent or adolescent. Any diet that is before us, we will not eat like binge it. We will think twice. A vegetarian will think twice before eating a vegetarian diet, whether it is fried or whether it is roasted or whether it is cooked. Likewise, a non-vegetarian diet also, one should think twice before taking. Here also, we should be very selective about consumption of the media diet. It should be healthy and it should be selective. And this media use plan, there should be a use plan. During mealtime and bedtime, there should be a curfew imposed on use of the media. We should emphasize upon this. And limited intermittent screen time should be permitted, 1 to 2 hours per day. We see a lot of children without being the screen, the cell phone on their hand or tab on their hand, they will not eat anything. Since during holidays, since morning to late night, they will be busy on their screen. So this should be discouraged. Otherwise, we may lose the child's quality of life. And tomorrow, whatever happens, the parent should be held responsible. So screen time restriction should be. It is this media these days, it has become an addiction, not only to children or to adolescents, even for adults like us also, the media has become an addiction. If we resort to a lot of ourselves on WhatsApp, or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., whatnot, everything. So it has become an addiction disorder for all age groups. But what our concern is, the adolescent should be taken care, otherwise we will slip that adolescent out of our hands. So when it is an addiction disorder, withdrawals are tend to occur. So we cannot force a blanket ban on the withdrawal of the addiction from the adolescent. It should be a gradual one. It should be a restricted one. And all the health problems that are associated with the media are sleeplessness, suicidal tendencies, homicidal tendencies, increased risk of obesity, eating disorders that will lead to obesity again, lot of mental health disorders. As I already told you, the advantages of the media are communication and sharing, but it has gone beyond that communication and sharing. It is a big liability on the current society, particularly for children and adolescents. And we should wait before prescribing any of these things to our child or adolescent.
Yes, sir. Well taken from you, like how we have to approach to this adolescents and what are the issues they are commonly facing, and how the pediatrician or the need for the pediatrician at the hour to spend time with both of them counseling together, and then separately to the child as well as to the mother. And no hard fast rules, what Swati Bhave madam was sharing before, like quantity and quality of time, and not to be too strict to them also, because they are not like the children, they are in adolescence. So early, middle and the late adolescents, yes, they are exploring things. So their thinking process is changing. So even as parents have to understand, and the same thing has to be shared with both of them. Thank you, sir. Well taken from you. Moving on to Dr. Anita. This was...
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Suchitra. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye. So in a conversation, Dr. Anita, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a conversation between two mothers at the workplace, and there was issue of the relation with the adolescent child at home was commonly discussed. And as a pediatrician, what would you suggest about parent-adolescent relationship?
Thank you, Suchitra. Thank you for the opportunity. My job has been made easy after the previous discussions and the topics by our experts and seniors. So parenting is an essential role in influencing how adolescents interact with the complex factors that shape their development. So as child matures into adolescent, the parent relationship evolves, and parent requires new developmentally appropriate skills and strategies to meet their children's needs. The positive parenting has a wonderful influence on the adolescent development. So where do we go wrong? So what are the basic things which we need to do to improve the parent-adolescent relationship? First is we should establish a sense of connection with them. That is in a positive way, consistent and positive, and with an unconditional love. And we should nurture their self-esteem. But how do we do that? So unconditional love means being on the side of the child no matter what. So for example, if two adolescents had a fight and they come and complain to the parent, "Mommy, I had a brawl with him." So immediately the parent should not like judge him and say, "What did you do? What was wrong with you? How did you get into your trouble?" So instead of that, we should show some empathy and say, okay, fine, what happened? Let me know what happened. I'm always with you. So let us discuss what happened, what went to it. You can go and look into the matter, what happened, and then decide about, and then judge who was wrong and this. But initially, you should give them the confidence that no matter what, they can approach you for the help. That is the unconditional love and the positive connection. And how do you nurture self-esteem? You should have a realistic expectations from the child or an adolescent, and taking into consideration their capabilities also. It's not that the child probably in studies also, the child may be good at one subject and maybe a bit slow in the other subjects, but you can't expect them to excel in everything. One kid may be doing good in sports and one kid may be good in academics, but you can't expect every adolescent to be an all-rounder. So take into consideration their strength and weaknesses, and then encourage them accordingly and be realistic. Okay. Then non-interfering monitoring. You should give them a little bit of freedom with the strings attached. A little bit of control with a little bit of freedom. So that should be like, you should show interest in what they are doing in their academics, in their extracurricular activities, in their peer groups, where they are going out for partying and everything. You should have a little bit knowledge, but not like interfering. Suppose if the adolescent says, I'm going to party out with my friends, don't ever say that, can I come along and join you? That is absurd, right? You have to give them their own freedom and let them go with their own peer group, but make it a point that you know their friends, you have their contacts, and you know where they are going, at what time they are going, and what time they are expected, and you set the rules also. You have to decide the time when they should be back home. You should be informed. If at all by some circumstances they are late, they should be instructed to drop a message that I'm getting late, I'll be coming home by this time. So you know that the child is late or he's in safe place. Then you should take an interest in their academic also. You should regularly go and attend the PTMs whenever they are conducted by the educational institutions, and you should also interact with your teachers and take their feedback. How is your child doing there? Are there any issues related to his behavior or academic performance? And then act accordingly. You can discuss the same things when you get back home with your adolescents and act accordingly. You should provide your psychological autonomy and encourage independent thinking. Okay, it's not like you rub all your feelings or your decisions on them. Let them take their own decisions. Let us begin with the small things like what type of haircut they want, what type of dress they want, but appropriating social and economic circumstances, that you have to keep in mind. Okay, but let them choose a little bit within your family limits or your social norms. Taking into consideration all these things, you can allow things like they can choose their dress, they can choose the color of their dress, they can choose a haircut. That things, a small freedom should be allowed, and allow them to express their own thoughts and ideas and beliefs. If there is some topic being discussed and maybe he wants to put in his own thoughts and beliefs and he wants to enter the discussion, you should let him a bit. It should not be like that, you are still a kid, stay out of this. Because they are going into adolescence, you can consider their facts. You need not every time agree to it, but you should allow them to express their feelings and beliefs. Next slide, please.
I didn't take the next slide of yours, Anita, but then, yeah, because we will have much more questions coming up, so that I thought I can put it in the next question as such.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, thank you, Anita. It was a wonderful thing saying that a parent-adolescent relationship should always be a positive connection, not interfering and not monitoring too much, but definitely their strings should be in our hands to some extent, and then have them let their expressions known to the parents. That is much important. Yes. Now, Dr. Sri Krishna said, like there is a case of 16-year-old Rahul who was noticed to be self-limiting, not interactive as he was used to be before. He's becoming aggressive at times. His mother was much worried about his change in behavior, and she is seeking advice to know if it is a common in adolescent or anything abnormal has started. So what are the behavioral changes in adolescent and what to be considered for counseling?
Okay, well, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Here, our society, we have clarity what a child will do, or child is generally children are doing it. That's we sometimes, even if there is something nonsense, we tell that it's a childish. Okay, leave it. And we also have the set of what an adult is supposed to do, like a mature person. Only thing, there is no clarity what in between period the adolescent is supposed to do. There is no clarity for the parents and even for the society also. This is the one which is making all this confusion, because the child, from his childish nature going into a maturity, it undergoes a lot of transformations, and sometimes it looks that they are very, very silly problems. So, but first of all, these changes give a lot of confusion for the adolescent himself. So he is unable to decide. Till then, he was totally dependent on parents and teachers. Now he wants to be independent on his own. At that time, definitely there is some struggle. Inner struggle will be there for the child, and that reflect as they like a defiance and being argumentative with parents or siblings, and is disrespectful towards others in the family. It looks that he is opposing the parents and grandparents and giving a reply to their name. And there is a fluctuations in emotions, like sometimes over happiness or over anxiety, and sometimes suddenly becoming moody and aggressive or violent behavior. These are all seen, especially when they are with the father, or when they are with the group of members, like a family members. We might have observed that our children also, whenever some function is there, we used to take them when they are children. Once they become teenagers, every time they oppose. No, it is boring. Though we feel that it is very important, it's really tough job to take them also. That means there are many times they oppose, and they looks that they are short-tempered, and they need more privacy and independence. So especially they want to spend more time with the parents than with the more time with the peers and their friends than with the parents. Next slide, man. But most of the times, these emotional periods and behaviors will not last for a long time. What I have observed, whatever values, culture we taught during the childhood, though it shakens during the adolescent period, but later they come back and they are retained most of the times. It's almost 90% of the times in the families I have seen, whatever is the culture or atmosphere created by the parents, when he's a child, is retained again after completion of the adolescent. So during this particular period, we should not be panicky, and they become all right most of the times. But there are some other important factors also which can influence. One is a lack of sleep. This is very, very common nowadays, and especially in the night. And there's a poor diet, especially there is a more of a junk food preferences are there for adolescents, and too much of screen time, and that is affecting even the mental health also. And I feel that these are all the things which can be corrected to some extent if we are taking care right from the childhood. Next slide. So what the parents are supposed to do in such periods. So in this, the guiding the teenager, especially we should not leave him completely. At the same time, we should not put all the barriers for him. So of all, the most important thing is spending more time with the child, because this is a period where there is a difference also. Even the fathers also feel little bit discomfort when the girl child is there, and to take them nearby. Even mothers also feel that, and at that time they try to avoid, or they try to push to the, if a boy is there, mother tells that to go to the father. So but on other hand, spending time, giving more time for the child is very, very important in building the resilience. But at the same time, spending time does not mean that you should always be with the child, because they prefer to be independent, and they prefer timings with the peers. So we should also give them we give the freedom also and space to do this. This is also important. So that means the parent should have clarity that when to be with the child and when to leave the child on his own. And if we feel that the child is not listening to the parents, sometimes you can take the help of somebody like other adults, another mature adults like aunts or family friends or somebody like teachers can be taken. Reliable person should be there who can give better guidance.
Yes, sir, definitely. We need to have quality time spending with them, but it all depends again. Quality and quantity of time spent is not any hard fast rules for anybody. It depends and it varies from family to family and their upbringing.
Yes.
As we all know that child who is trained at younger age bring up the child that the way they should, and when they're older, they will not depart from it. This is very well said, and I take it. So now moving to Dr. Sunilnath sir, there are important things about a vaccination. Adolescent girl along with her mother have come to the outpatient department to know about the adolescent vaccine and their side effects. So what are the indications of this vaccination in adolescent? Do all the adolescent need vaccination? And can you just brief about a few things on HPV vaccine? Sunilnath sir?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Suchitra. I'm able to join. I thought I will not be able to join actually.
Thank you very much, sir, to have you on this.
As far as the vaccination for adolescents are concerned, we can divide them into 3 groups. One is a routine vaccination for the adult. Are you able to hear?
Yes, yes, sir. Neeli sir, please mute yourself. Neeli sir, please mute yourself.
Okay, madam. Any special message from Goa?
1 minute. Okay. So we have 3 categories of vaccines. One is routine vaccination for the adolescent individuals. In fact, those who have received all the primary vaccinations. Normally, routine vaccination starts around 10 to 12 years of age. So 2 vaccines are routinely recommended. One is the 5th booster Tdap, tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, where we give a cellular pertussis vaccine. Along with that, human papillomavirus vaccine is also recommended between 10 to 14 years. So now we have a HPV 9-valent vaccine, which almost covers about 98% of herpes virus, human oncogenic viruses which are causing the cervical cancer. So 9-valent vaccine is preferable compared to a 4-valent vaccine which was there existing previously. So these are the 2 routinely recommended vaccinations. So somebody has not received other vaccines which are supposed to be received at the childhood, for example, varicella, hepatitis A, so other vaccines like MMR, these things can be given as a catch-up vaccination. Whatever vaccines have been missed during the childhood can be taken up as a catch-up vaccination. The third category comes the adolescents who are traveling. The traveling vaccines also nowadays recommended for the adolescents, depending on the country which they are traveling. So suppose they are going to the US, they require a meningococcal vaccine also at that time. So they should have finished the MMR 2nd dose also. So traveling, suppose they are going for a trekking to a forest area where you expect that wild animals likely to bite them, those people who are traveling can take the rabies vaccination before traveling. So 3 categories we have to take. One is for the routine vaccination. Another is the catch-up vaccination, which have been missed during the childhood. Another is the traveling vaccines. So depending on the country, you have to take these traveling vaccines.
Yes, sir. Sir, about the HPV, you said the female have to take. What is your say about?
Yes. Now the vaccine is that gender-neutral vaccine has come. In fact, HPV 9-valent vaccine is available. So HPV 9-valent vaccine is recommended even for the boys also now. Not only girls, even the boys also. And there are enough studies which are showing that HPV prevalence as far as boys are concerned, it is almost equal to the female children. So even the vaccine now, whatever vaccine, 9-valent vaccine is routinely recommended even for the boys. ACVIP recommendation has also come. Only thing is that the previously quadrivalent vaccine was recommended as a 2-dose schedule between 10 to 14 years. But the present 9-valent vaccine, the studies in India are conducted with a 3-dose schedule. So product insert, and recommendation is to give 3-dose schedule as a 1, 2, and 6 months. We have to give a 3-day schedule as per the recommendations. But in some of the countries where the studies are available, they are even giving the 2-dose schedule as a 0-6 months. So a gender-neutral vaccination for the HPV can be given even for the boys also.
So for the question that is, are there any side effects? What should they bother about?
Really speaking, the millions of doses of HPV vaccine has been given without any side effect. They don't have any reported untoward adverse events following the vaccination. Some of the reported events are not correlating with the vaccine. So it is found to be the safest vaccination. It can be given. Whatever adverse events which they have reported are not correlating with the vaccination. Except local pain, other than systemic manifestations, systemic adverse events are very rare. Only thing is you have to take these vaccines in the sitting posture or a lying down posture. Otherwise, what happens? The adolescent children are likely to go into syncope. So suddenly, if the patient goes into a syncope, you will be in your clinic. You will be definitely worried whether it is a anaphylaxis or a syncope. There are enough evidences how to differentiate a syncope from the anaphylaxis. So I think we already know that. So anaphylaxis normally associated with tachycardia, whereas the syncope associated with the bradycardia. And usually syncope is a transient phenomena. After making the patient supine, usually they get up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Another thing is anaphylaxis involves multi-system involvement, where you may have some bronchospasm also. Associated skin manifestations may be there. So hypotension may be there. So multi-system involvement, if it is there, then you have to think of anaphylaxis. But anaphylaxis for the vaccination was found to be very, very, very rare. 1 in a million chance of getting anaphylaxis.
So safely we can administer and advise about the HPV vaccination and also about the catch-up vaccinations and regarding the travel vaccinations. Thank you very much, sir. So now, Dr. Anita, there is one Mrs. Shamala who came to the OPD to know about the positive parenting whom she heard from her colleague. Can you brief us about the positive parenting and when and how to?
Hi. Play the next slide. Yeah, these are all the tips for the positive parenting, and most of the things have been already covered in the previous talks and the previous question also. So we have explained about the unconditional love and keeping a close vigil on what they do. The simple thing is like we were discussing about the quality time and the quantity time. What is recommended is whenever you face a child, whether it could be in the morning, in the morning when the child adolescent wakes up and comes to you, you can just say, hi, hope you had a good sleep, and what would you like to have for breakfast, and what would you like to have in your lunch? These are simple questions which build the interaction, and it's like valuing their opinions and their choices also. These are small things which do count in positive parenting. So how to inculcate discipline? And this also we had, for example, I'll just give you a scenario where your adolescent comes up to you and asks you, Mommy, I want to, some of our friends are organizing a late night party. So can I go? I wish to go. I want to go. So some people express in different ways. Some ask your permission like, can I go? And some may even ask, I want to go. And some will just dictate like, I have to go. Give me money, pay for that, and let me go. So these are different perspectives our child will even approach you. So how would you react? In a positive parenting, we should parent them in the authoritative style. So where we have the upper hand as a parent, and then parenting in a friendly way. It is a friendly parenting way. So at that time, you had to keep your calm. We had to stay calm and introspect. Maybe when I was an adolescent, even I felt an urge like attending some parties arranged by friends. Maybe it might be interesting. You may or may not have attended. That's a different issue. But just think about it. Okay, would I want my child to go? Is it safe for the child to go? Adolescent, sorry. So you have to get into more details. Okay, let me think about it. And first tell me the few details about the party. So give me the details. Where is the party being held? Who is organizing the party? And what are all the things planned in the party? This we have to probe into that. Like, are there any alcohol being served? Are there any rave party? Are there any drugs involved? Do you have any idea what they are? And is there any, what are the timings? So how are you planning to go there and how are you planning to come back? And do you know the organizing persons in person, or are there some strangers, maybe online friends or someone else? So then who are you going with? What are the group you are going with? So all these details you have to take into account and then judge it. So if it is some random person which that party was put in online and you don't know anybody from that group, you better say no. You have every right to say no and then explain them that it is not reasonable to ask for someone party somewhere being held by some unknown persons and you don't even know what will be in that party. So you better stay away from it. You have to be firm in that. So that is inculcating discipline. Suppose in the next scenario, if you know the persons who are organizing the party and you know them also well, and your adolescent also is his own, it's the same group of friends, then you can allow them to go to the party, but set some rules where how they are going and with which group they are going, and you have to take all the numbers of their friends and then set the timings also at what time you are going. By this time, by 9 or 10 you should be back, and you can even ask him like, shall I drop you or and pick you up? So that is another extension of positive parenting, where you are letting them a little bit of independence and letting them enjoy it, and then again you're taking care of their like you are forwarding yourself to drop them and then pick up. So that in that wise, you also know the venue of the party. You have that advantage also. You know where the party is being held. You can anytime approach that place if God forbid something happens. Okay, like that, it's being a vigil. Then be a good listener. Whenever a parent, whenever an adolescent comes to you and starts a discussion, don't shut them off. Don't shut them off in any circumstances, whether it is a time concern or whatever concern. Be a good listener. So if you don't have to, if you don't have time to go in depth, at least you take the gist of what he wants to say, and then you can like, oh, this seems to be a bigger problem. If you don't have at that time, if you are in a rush, maybe you are working, you're in a rush, you can't just straight away say that, no, I don't have time for all this shit. You can, sorry for that word. I don't have time for all this stuff. So go to your mommy or the other person or something. So instead you can say, at least hear a few words what he has concerns. If it is going a longer way, you can plan a time. Okay, why don't we discuss it in the evening? Evening I'll come, after I come back from work, we'll have a nice discussion about that. This is about time management and giving them quality and quantity time. Okay, and whatever stuff they are going to say, be patient and listen to them. That's how they enjoy and that's how they interact with it. Spend quality time and teach them rights and responsibilities. So every adolescent wants to say, no, this is my right. I have grown up. I'm almost an adult. I'm 16. I'm 18. I have every right to do this. Okay, fine. But teach them the responsibilities also. So teach them that you have to do your own things. You have to take care of your own belongings and all. You have to participate in the household chores also, and you have to take care of the health and hygiene of yourself and keep your room clean and all these things. You have to instruct them to take up their responsibility. And joys and troubles, we always as a parent, we always like to keep our adolescents in a cocoon of safety. Okay, we don't want our kids to suffer at any cost, but that should not be the one. We are always giving them happiness and we always want to see them happy and healthy. At the same time, there might be small troubles. Yes, we can shield them from bigger ones, but smaller ones, let them get into trouble and then learn from those experiences.
Yeah, well taken from you. Positive parenting, yes, definitely is different from that of the child to that of adolescence. Adolescence, yes. Again, the early adolescence to middle adolescent to the adult as they're transforming. So definitely these points have to be taken into consideration to whom we are addressing. We can't address to the parent regarding a positive parenting of a child to the adolescent mother. So definitely we need to keep in view of this, and important is about the reproductive health and how the about the reproductive health and how they have to be knowing about the things before they enter into any relationship. Thank you, Anita. So now moving to Dr. Sri Krishna sir, like knowing about the gray areas of adolescent care with both the parents are working and exposure of children to the media for their doubts on growing or health issues. Do you think we need to have routine adolescent health visits, or what are the components to be considered at a routine health visit?
Okay. Truly speaking, we definitely need the special clinics for the adolescents, because we have well-planned childhood centers now, but for adults also. But in adolescent, it is not the physical health main, because many times they are physically healthy. Most of the children, of course, they do have, even they do have some physical illnesses, but the doctor means in the community, always the people think that only some disease is there, the people go there getting the treatment like medication. But this is the adolescent health visits are totally different. Many times more of psychological disturbances, and or sometimes the routine things which need some direction. So definitely there's a need of separate clinics for the adolescents, and them you should not say that the clinics are hospitals. You should make them adolescent friendly health centers. So here, what is the need? What they do? As we should remember that in previous days we used to have combined families where multiple people used to give 80-year-old person to 18-year-old person also.
So there is a different of opinions which the child will be seeing and getting it. But because they are all option now, it is the people, there is special services should be given in a specialized centers, like where what are these services they do, that they monitor growth and development of adolescent, and they provide the required information about the body changes and psychological changes of adolescent. Second, especially putting the healthy diet to prevent the malnutrition and obesity. We both are very, very dangerous nowadays at this, particularly at this age groups, and encouraging the adolescents to take all the vaccinations, as already we have been told that, and counsel them about the prevention of intentional injuries. This is a period where there is a risk taking and rash driving, to insist about the prevention of the intentional injuries, and also this is a period where the substance abuse is there, so we need to warn them not to go for even for a little pleasure or 2 minutes pleasure also. They should not prefer that, and counsel them about the life skills related to the sexual and reproductive health. And also there are prevention of the many lifestyle diseases. Many of the lifestyle diseases, though they have a seed in childhood, like heart disease, diabetes, obesity, or HIV, they say that the seeds are there in childhood, but actually the beginning of the many diseases, it gets aggravated during this particular adolescent period. So we need to insist about the prevention of the lifestyle diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and of course about the STI and the AIDS also. Next.
Yes. So Dr. Anita, nutrition in adolescent has become a challenging issue to many parents. Can you brief about the ends of nutrition, the effects of over and under nutrition? Very briefly.
Yeah, we have the overnutrition on one hand and undernutrition on other hand. In undernutrition, we have wasting, stunting, underweight, and micronutrient deficiencies, the hidden hunger. And in overnutrition, we have obesity and overdose of micronutrients, which are externally consumed. So next slide, please. These are the consequences of overnutrition. We all know that obesity leads to the lifestyle diseases like heart disease, cancers, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, high cholesterol levels, and respiratory problems and arthritis also, because these are because of the low-grade systemic inflammation, which is triggered by the overnutrition and obesity, and these secretion of several inflammatory mediators lead to the development lifestyle disorders. So these are the effects of malnutrition, which affect every part of body, every organ of the body, leading to the vicious cycle of, we all know about the Barker's hypothesis. Similar to that, the effects of malnutrition, and when they are deprived, when they shift from the deprived immunity to those of the overeating pattern, lifestyle diseases are rampant in these conditions. So this the government of India has 6 global nutrition targets for 2025. They aim at 40% reduction in the number of children under 5 and 50% reduction in anemia among women and reproductive age, so that appropriate weight children are born, then that reduces the neonatal mortality and undernourished children, and 30% reduction in low birth weight, and to ensure that no further increase in childhood overweight cases are there, and increasing the rate of exclusive breastfeeding in the first 6 months and up to at least 50%, and reducing and maintaining childhood wasting to less than 5%. These are our goals for it.
Yeah, they are targeted things. That's very good, well taken. Dr. Surendra sir, why are the adolescents more prone for substance abuse disorders, and what is the impact in the future?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, Sujitra. Since morning they have been discussing, no? I mean.
Yes, sir, very true. A quick word from you too.
In fact, most of the adolescents are likely to experiment. Peer pressure will be there. Not only the environment which they grow is the reason for the substance abuse. In fact, it is increasing in our community, definitely. So parents should be a role model. Not only that, we should guide them to avoid the peer pressure of using substances or alcohol abuse should be avoided in these adolescents. This is possible only by counseling them properly, and positive parenting attitude should be there for the parents, and environment in which they are brought up should be ideal, so that substance abuse and alcohol abuse can be avoided by using these methods. So,
yes, sir. Very true, sir. There is an impact of this physical and also psychological development of this child. So definitely the problems are raised up on this generation, younger generation is too high. So we need to definitely monitor on the psychomimic effect of the drugs and their exposure to them and their anxiety, depression. So what about the suicidal tendencies? That is also much increasing.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling, because a lot of pressures are there. So we have to counsel them. Life is a different situation. Failure is not the end of it, and they should face the failure as part of the life, and the suicidal tendencies should be reduced by counseling them whenever it is possible. Whenever there are signs of depression are there, they should be treated immediately by counseling, and sometimes if any drugs are required, we should use them. So that's how we can reduce the suicidal tendency in adults.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is a craft question, what they say. So we have to be very careful about counseling them also, because that is another age of experimentation. Yes, Dr. Sri Krishna said a few points for academic and emotional stress management in adolescents. Dr. Sri Krishna, sir.
Hello? Yes,
yes, sir. Academic and emotional stress management.
Perhaps this is one of the common reason why adolescent child is brought to the our clinics. Most of the time, the parents complain that my child is having memory loss or not getting marks. So give some tonic so that he can get better marks. This is a very commonly asked question for adolescent children. So here there is we need to see that why the child is now the mental health disorders are considered as newly emerging problems even in low and middle income countries, and because most of the times in the daytime the teenagers are spending their time at schools. So obviously academic stress is an important risk factor also, and it is seen not only in the child who is poor in academics, even the children with the toppers also having a lot of tensions undergoing. I've seen that 95% marks child also crying that they didn't get 97 marks. So this is very common. It is because of they are all undergoing under tremendous stress. So how to tackle that? There are multiple reasons for this stress. It is not only due to comparison with the peers, even the targets set by the parents targets set by the teachers, and also the emotion, the tension created that if we don't get any marks or less marks also, we are nowhere considered in the this thing. Especially we can take our NEET exam nowadays, which is almost they are supposed to write around 17 years, and they have to compete. Almost 2 lakhs children are writing NEET exam across the country, and 10 lakhs children are writing with for 1 lakh seats nearly. Of course, it increased, but that is also creating a lot of tension for the children. And the training centers, they make the children to go into tremendous tension for last 2 to 3 years also. So this is a period where even the parents' attitude with the society and they also keep changing during that particular period. So, but at the same time, just having a lot of tension regarding the marks doesn't give marks. So this is very, very important aspect. So we need to advise the children to how to tackle that stress situation. Like there are good techniques, like they should not leave these exercises and eating, regular eating. In fact, this is a good habit right from 3 years, 4 years age onwards. Every family should give that to their children so that they'll continue during adolescent period also. And similarly, the good sleep routine also very, very important, as already been discussed, that 8 hours sleep is important, and the excess caffeine should not be be taken, and especially out of tension, and some children even in affluent schools also under taking the illegal drugs, alcohol and tobacco. We should avoid all these things. And even the relaxation techniques are very, very important, which it should be a regular curriculum even in the schools also, that how to do these relaxation techniques whenever the child is undergoing tension, or make it a habit. I advise that almost before one class to another class, there is 1 month, 1 hour gap. Well, soon after 1 hour, they can have 2 minutes of breathing exercises, which I tell even for my medical students also, so that they can come out of the stress. And again, they will be fresh to listen to the next lecture. So these are the various options given here, like a therapy, spa, exercise, hobbies, looking into the hobbies, and doing meditation or yoga, and looking at the nature, or learning the time management and music. I always advise that every child, irrespective of their whether they become champion or not, but they should have one outdoor game, so that there's good physical activity and team spirit will be there. One indoor game, like something like a puzzles or chess or caroms, so that the planning will be better for those children. And also one fine art like music, painting, acting, or dance or something. So that also is supposed to give high mental relaxation. At the same time, good planning also will be there. So these three should be there and should be part of the curriculum for every child during this particular period. And there is a few more points I like to develop. Assertiveness training skills. This is important. Like particular, you should tell that in a polite and firm way, but it should not be aggressive or passive ways. And the second is rehearse the situation. Like if exam hall, its interview is there, the child should rehearse that same thing, like in practice situations which is causing stress at home itself, so that he can come out of it. Similarly, learn practical coping skills. These are like a now the problem for the many of our children is they are very good theory masters but poor in practical skills. So whenever the matter of practical, because what is expected from the student is many times practical related questions or practical related answers, so that is really giving a lot of tension for them. So the practical coping skills should be there for them. And decrease negative self-talk. This is always there. It's if this is not there in the parents,
it will not be there in children also, that I am alone, I am hopeless, I am waste, or like this. These words should never be used by the child. And similarly, always feel good about what they are having it. Let it be a small achievement, but always let them feel good about it, and let them celebrate in a smooth way, and even let the family members join with that. So these are some few techniques which can decrease academic stress for the child.
Yes, sir. Well taken from you, sir, about the stress management. And Dr. Anita, when to consider gender dysphoria in adolescents?
Yeah. What is gender dysphoria is a balance between what the child feels about her own gender and what is has been assigned by birth. So these are the few criteria by DSM-5. A marked incongruence between one's experience or expressed gender and the primary or secondary sex characters. That a strong desire to be rid of one's primary or secondary sexual characters because of a marked incongruence with one's experience or expressed gender, and a desire to prevent the development of anticipated secondary sexual. If they are in the early stage of puberty, they just don't want the same what has been assigned by birth, those secondary sexual characters to be developed. And then a strong desire for primary or secondary sexual characters of the other gender, strong desire to be of other gender, strong desire to be treated as other gender, and a strong conviction that one has a typical feeling and reactions to the other gender, which is in opposition to the one which they have been born with. So that suppose if the boy is if an adolescent is a boy, he is expected to have feelings for a girl. So if the reverse happens, that is one of the criteria. The condition is associated with clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning, and at least this condition should last for at least 6 months duration, and at least 2 or more of the criteria mentioned should be there. And what are the distress factors? It could be stress, isolation, anxiety, depression, poor self-esteem, suicidal thoughts, eating disorders, or substance abuse. This has to be clinically proven to brand them as gender dysphoria.
Yeah, very well taken. And office practice, usually we miss out on this, and definitely we need to concentrate on these issues as well when we deal with the child as they're growing into adolescent, and that helps us. Dr. Sri Krishna said, with the increasing influence of the Western culture in the present era of on the adolescents, what is LGBT? That how does it stand as a matter of concern for the pediatricians in the office practice?
Truly speaking, this is a gray area even for the many practitioners till recently, and even there is no clear-cut guidelines how to tackle these issues. LGBT stands for a group of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, and they are there in the society. They say that in some reports in USA, 2 to 3% are lesbians, and even 4 to 5% are gays are there, and gay bisexual also there 2 to 5%, and transgenders. There is no clear-cut studies about transgenders ratio, but the thing here it is when 2 to 3% is nobody expose themselves so easily about these issues. And so when it is 2 to 3%, that means we have to think that it's almost more than double of its rates. So this is a USA picture, but we don't know what is the Indian scenario. First, we should think whenever such problems do come, what is the reason for this peculiar sexual behaviors? Is it inherent or social behavior? There is a lot of studies are there which say that it could be an inherent nature of the person that he is preferring, like a lesbian or gay or bisexual nature, but there is no clear cut proof also there it is inherent. It could be a social attitude also. Like what is the social condition? It is like a fear of opposite sex make the person, whether male or female, to become the lesbian or gay, or fear of having children which they may not like, the carrying or having children or rearing them. So instead of to avoid that, they may go for these activities. And sometimes even they having the families and poor support from their families. So these are all the things which may be the social aspects which can result into these peculiar sexual behaviors. And what are the problems? Do we encourage this? In fact, it's not only Indian culture. Everywhere, if you take any religion, let it be Hinduism or Christianity or Islam, nowhere all these things are encouraged. So that means these are all seen as a very low level. On other hand, even the society also, remember about the religion, when the society also feels, if the person come to know that this having this so and so problem, immediately his image will go down in the society. So even this results in multiple problems also. There is a social acceptability is very poor. Fear of separatism from the society and from the family, and having the family also is create the problem, because as we know that if the person cannot have two issues, even the family partner will object for these things, even if it is bisexual nature. And obviously the future, we are accustomed to have that around 25 years having a marriage, and after that having children, rearing them. This is a routine lifestyle what we expect from anyone, where it is disturbed. And similarly, what is the status of these people if they are not married and not having children? What is their status in old age? So there is an increased psychological disorders, increased aggression, increased suicidal tendency is seen among the people who are lesbian or who come under this group like LGBT compared to the ordinary people. So this is the reason why it may not be acceptable to the society, because the children with this odd behaviors are seen in the public. So do we accept this? Accept it? Suppose if the person, a grown-up person, having these things, of course we don't have anything to say and to avoid it. Only thing we can tell that the risk involved in this, not only physical and even the psychological risk and family issues, society issues, we can explain to the adult. But
Yes,
what
sir.
about the child? Do we accept? Yes. Do we accept it?
Well taken from you. Well taken from you, Sri Krishna sir. It was a tough area to ask and also to discuss on this platform. And definitely that is an upcoming thing, and many of the colleges and schools, it has been now taken into challenge, and they're performing the days for them, and they're encouraging them to come out. But definitely we need to talk about the risk behavior, and we need to consider that. So coming to the end of this panel, we have the take-home messages as the major physical, psychosocial, and behavioral changes that take place in adolescence. And sexual maturity and onset of sexual activity also happens in adolescence. We need to counter them in a proper way and nurture them with all the care. And health services, vaccinations for adolescents have to be made available in public and private sector. Despite being thought as healthy stage of life, there is a significant dearth of, death and injury also happening in the adolescent years, which need to be a concern. So understanding the needs and providing services, positive parenting, encouraging them with the life skills, management of stress, nutritional balance, gender-related issues. These are all the key points of adolescent health. And this takes us to new era of where adolescent health also have to be thought about. Thank you, Dr. Sri Krishna. We have taken, Dr. Srikanth. Dr. Srikanth, we have taken a lot of time, but I think that was a wonderful discussion with all the panelists. I thank all the panelists for the active participation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Sujitra, madam, and all the eminent panelists for such a wonderful discussion on, adolescent health issues, which is the need of the hour of this present situation because of lot of, lockdown and lot of gadgets being. I request Dr. Preeti Nagaraj, madam, to have few words so that. Preeti, madam.
I think the symposium went on very well. It has covered all the aspects of the adolescent care, health care, and parental guidance, and the most important, which we wanted to give the message to the pediatricians who are going to be the custodians and ambassadors for the adolescent health care. So they need to be more non-judgmental, and maintaining the confidentiality and handling the adolescents with care and concern and love. So wonderful day we had. on this adolescent healthcare. And the whole week we had a great time, and it ends with the Daughters Day. So happy Daughters Day to all the daughters and all those who have daughters. And from the bottom of my heart, I express my gratitude towards Swati Bhave Madam, MKC Nair Sir, and Anuradha Madam, who were really excellent, and they highlighted about the adolescent issues and what is necessary and how we have to handle. Not excess is the need. Inner happiness is the one which the adolescents nowadays are not finding out. So they feel lost. So that was very wonderfully expressed, and the take home messages given by the panelists is excellent and to emulate upon. So I thank everybody, panelists and moderators. Thank you so much for doing an excellent job, and thank you Shrikant for doing the great job. I once again thank the TCB team, Sankoj Bhaskar sir and RSP Sri Krishna sir for giving us this platform. Thank you very much, and good afternoon and good day ahead for everybody.
Thank you, madam, for all your words. And I thank on behalf of IAP TCB and all the IB members. I thank Dr. MKC Nair sir, Dr. Swati Bhave madam, Anuradha, Sohani madam, and Navna Nihal Singh sir, Preeti madam, Suchitra madam, and the panelists, senior faculty Anita madam, Surendranath sir, Neeli Ramchandar sir, and Sri Krishna sir for their wonderful presentations and enlightening on the occasion of this National Adolescent Child and Health Care Week. Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us, sir. Thank you one and all once again. Thank you very much for all the support, and thank you to all the participants who have joined this and made it successful. Thank you very much. I am ending this program.
Thank you. One word, sir. Thank you everyone for participation, all the participants and the faculty. And this opportunity, I would like to mention that we have created a few guidelines for the pediatricians, how to inculcate adolescent health into your office practice. That Word document was shared in all the groups. I request everyone to keep on sharing and keep on enlightening our own faculty to include adolescent health practice into our day-to-day practice. So once we start it, we can, the small steps make big word. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you for that, madam Anita. Thank you very much.
I think. Bye. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Surendranath sir. Thank you for joining, sir. Thank you, Surendranath sir, very much. Wonderful Goa. Have a good time in Goa, sir. Sorry, I disturbed you this afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.